that annoying? I hate it.
It's so annoying. All right. We are live. And before we get started, I know there's a lot going on in the world right now. And I want to wish everyone love, peace, God, hope, all the things. So I just want to acknowledge that. And we are going to get started with week 24 of What Did Prince Do This Week? And we have Chris P. first in the chat. Welcome. We got Drea Dances. So glad to be back after being gone for work. Thank you for being here and spending your free time with us, Drea. We got Anna B. Cool means being able to hang with yourself. That's right. We got April from Tampa. And we got Gabrielle from Down Under. We got Andre from Detroit. What up, though?
Hey, go find Lee Christian, Andre. Go holler at Lee Christian.
Lord.
Let him know you're here, baby.
Controversy. So enjoy London, Andre. That's incredible. Detroit is in London. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. But seriously, Lee may be playing somewhere. So, hit up Lee, see if he's playing somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. And we got Nick Felden from Denver, EA from San Francisco, Chanel from DC. Missed last week thanks to the Capitol Jazz Festival in Esperanza, Spalding. It was worth the heat. Told great stories about Wayne Shorter and Prince. Glad to be back home. We're glad that you're back with us, Chanel. We got Christina back from Seattle in Minneapolis, and glad to be with us today. We got Duke Swan. We got Cynic 22. We got TP. We got Theo, one of my favorite folks. And we got Man Ray 10 here. We got Chris Bournet. Happy Father's Day to all the dads on this screen right here. Happy birthday. Happy Father's Day to you both.
Yes, indeed. We getting ready for the socks and the drawers and the ugly ass ties and all that. We appreciate it. We love it. So just keep them socks and drawers and ugly ass ties coming. Let's go.
Actually, this is a really great time to ask, what do fathers really want for Father's Day?
To be left the hell alone. No, I'm just playing. Can I watch the game in peace? No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brother D.
Yeah, I just see no comment.
I mean, because you know what? Because actually, and to be honest, you just kind of accept it is what it is. Mama gonna get all the love, and we know Mama gonna get all the love, and Mama's supposed to get all the love. And as the men's and the men folks, we just happy to acknowledge us.
What Celia is saying, both me and him are at the age where we already know we ain't gonna get shit.
Exactly.
We don't even expect y'all to get what we want to get, so it's all good. Like
there you go.
JD is saying we want peace.
There you go, brother JD. Yeah. There you go.
That's a safe answer. You go say, I want peace. Right. I want to make sure you babies got everything you need.
Just let me watch the game. Just
leave me the hell alone.
Oh my God. All right. So Vanessa, I hope you're still going to join us. Vanessa is going to join us later to talk about last weekend of celebration. So I can't wait to hear about Vanessa's experience. And yes, we got a lot of rest in pieces.
Yeah.
Brian,
heavy.
Ananda Lewis, and more, actually.
By Stone.
Yes.
And we got El Michelle celebrating their birthday weekend with the Purple Crew. Thank you for being here with us during your birthday weekend.
Hey, can I say this though? I will say this. It is. I am glad that Brother Sly Stone got to live as long as he got to live.
Yeah.
That his children and his grandchildren got to enjoy him as a daddy and a granddaddy, and he even got to see his flowers with the documentary by Brother Questlove. And so, when you think about Sly Stone, you think about his life, you think about a lot of our geniuses. A lot of our geniuses don't get to be granddaddies. And the fact that Sly Stone got to be a granddaddy, and for somebody like me who's an actual granddaddy, that to me is a blessing. And I'm glad that Sly's family got to know Sly as a granddaddy. I'll shut up.
Yes, yes.
This is my favorite part. Sorry about that. This whole movement right here is my favorite part. Yes. Also, rest in peace.
Y'all gotta hit me to that. Who is that? I don't know that. Who that is? Hit me to that.
I need help, but I know a lot of people showed him love.
It's a hip hop group.
Okay. Okay.
All right. And I feel like somebody else. There were so many people who passed this week. It was a lot of people. We got Sister Charles. We got Lunch with Prince. All right.
Oh, did you say Ananda Lewis?
Yes. We said Ananda Lewis. Yes.
Teen Summit. That was my gateway into BET.
Hey, man. Yes, sir.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes. Very, very sad week for music.
It was always cool. She was really a powerhouse of both brains and beauty. Right? You know the thing that I think about, you know, it was another saying, but I always think about the bat dance when the ladies got on the all this and brains too, or something like that on the shirts. You think about that with Ananda Lewis, that the way that she carried herself. And I remembered this, that I love the fact that when she talked about the greatest romance ever sold video, and she talked about when Prince was at with TRL Live, and she said that right now it's a guy. The videos are a guy with 40 undressed women, and she said this is probably the only video I've seen in about a year that just shows love between a man and a woman. And that's that was, I think that was, and I was really feeling that single anyway. So you think of Ananda Lewis, repping for something like that. I said.
All right, so Tanja said that they are an Atlanta MC and host of Art Beats and Lyrics, and also participated in Jason's Funk Jazz Cafe.
Blessings. Thank you, Sister Tanja.
And then we got Cynic making a really good point. Clive Davis has now outlived Sly, Whitney, Prince, Maurice White, Quincy, and Michael.
I'ma just be quiet.
Sammy.
Thank you. That there it is right there.
Yes.
I might pick up on that.
Well, one of the things I find interesting too is that Sly outlived a lot of his disciples.
Yeah,
that's the interesting part about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And let's be serious. And we would have thought he wouldn't have.
Yes.
And some people thought he wasn't alive.
Right.
For a long time, almost if he wasn't here, but
right.
Yeah, man.
And even though I'm a non-hip hop person, I got to give props to somebody. I got to give props to DC Young Fly. There you go, brother Sneak. I got to give props to DC Young Fly. I don't know if any of you guys ever watched the series, the Soul Train series. And I don't know if it was called Soul Train, but it was a
Soul Train series.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple episodes.
Yeah, they did too. It was 2 years. It was basically it was a fictional. I won't say fictionalized because they went pretty much by the book, but it was just a TV series, and I think it was on BT. And it was basically about the life of Don Cornelius. And in one episode, DC Young Fly played.
What are you doing? Stop moving the mic.
Yeah, sorry. DC Young Fly played Sly Stone, and that was the moment I had to give DC Young Fly his props as being a really good actor, because he did a really good job playing Sly Stone. So if you guys never saw that, I want to try to remember the name of the series, because it was a really, really good series. And the only thing I hate is that, because I did some research and it made me realize it was true, it made me look at my man Dick Clark in a different way now. It was made me a little bit kind of salty. But then all this fan business, baby. And let me just say this: Dick Clark was a business man, and Soul Train was siphoning some of the money. And I just leave it there.
Oh wow. Huh.
Well, I mean, but then also you have to, when they're doing whatever you call those adaptations, they make some licenses, so you never know like what's true and what's not true. Because that happened like with the what was I watching one time? I think I can't remember the movie that was about Madam C.J. Walker.
Yeah, that one is terrible. Yeah, that one's terrible.
And I was like, really? So I was like, they're really taking some license, like some creative license here.
Yeah, Brother Dean, Brother Rick, if you ain't never seen that one, that movie is a lie from beginning to end.
Damn.
Like the only thing that's true in that movie is Madam C.J. Walker invented the perm. Other than that,
you mean the Netflix movie with Blair Underwood?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I saw it.
What up, Rick?
Hey man, what's going on with everybody?
Shaking but the bacon.
There you
I
go.
can dig it. I can dig it. Hey, say D'Angela, I got to give you a shout out. I got this early Father's Day gift. I don't know if y'all can see that.
I love it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I saw you left a quote in there.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. I was quite shocked at that. I was like, all right, represent hometown.
Yes, I was reached out to. I read the book. The Aya who wrote the book is a really lovely woman. So I hope everyone will pick it up.
Okay.
It's about Prince and spirituality. And I don't have my copy by me, I don't think, but Rick held it up. Awesome. Okay, so let's get through our housekeeping. We're going week to week, not date to date. You can follow the detailed schedule at this bit.ly link or QR code. You do not need the paperback version, but this is what has the most updated version, unless you have the Old Testament hardcover book, and then you're still fine. It hasn't been too many, but there's basically 50 additional pages. And so far, I guess we haven't really been in the pages where there are a lot of changes, because there's only been one time recently where there was a little bit of a change, but not really. All right. And then these will be archived at Polished Solid as well as at M. Dean. Please take the time to subscribe, like, and help spread the word. We want to spread a little positivity. So by hitting the like button, that would help. And also just to spread the word about Prince's work ethic and the breadth of his discography. And this is our hashtag WDPDTW and our Gmail if you want to get in touch with us. This is an independent endeavor. The estate of Prince Rogers Nelson is not affiliated, associated, or connected with the What Did Prince Do This Week series. And we choose to be a community even when we disagree. I think it's really important for us to be in community right now because there's so much stuff going on right now. So let this be a safe space. We started off with Dopamine Rush, one of my favorite songs ever. It's like a suite. It's so long. Off of Times Squared, 1991. Eric Leeds. This is composed by Prince, as most should know. And Eric Leeds is on the horns as well as the flute. Prince is on synthesizers, guitar, bass, drum, and percussion programming. Matilda May. I don't know Matilda May. Does anybody have any additional information on who Matilda May is?
A cold name, though.
Matilda May. Maybe our chat can help us.
Almost sounds fake.
Boy,
all right.
Boy, that's an old school genre.
Yeah,
Matilda.
Matilda May. That's a cold.
I ain't know they were making no more Matildas.
Exactly.
They still making them.
Question that one.
Yes.
That joint is.
Hold on.
That better be somebody's auntie or something from back in the day.
That's right up there with
Toyotas.
Skipper
Skipper want me to do a little background vocals for Skipper.
All right. Ricky Chris is asking, what's the full title of the book? I know it's Dearly Beloved.
Dearly Beloved, Prince, Spirituality, and This Thing Called Life. I haven't started it yet, but I do like the fact that the author said that before every chapter, there's a suggested song list to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
And she provides that. I thought it was really cool. I tend to do that sometimes. Anyway, I think when I'm reading certain autobiographies or biographies about certain music people, I like to play whatever the chapter is about to be discussing. So I like to listen to that while I'm reading. So
yeah, me too. I love that.
What's the author's name?
Pamela Utende. Yeah.
Yeah. I posted about that book in the newsletter a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
About 2 or 3 weeks ago. So yeah. I didn't know Prof Duff, you had given a blurb to it. I had it in there. And when you go down, I think I still got to listen when you go down right before you get to the calendar events. It's still in there.
Mm.
So cool.
Me tricky. No.
There you go. That's funny.
All right. So since we're gonna talk about this later, but it's in the chat and it's gonna take too long to get there. So there's was it a super deluxe or was it just an around the world on day release? Like my thing is, did they say super deluxe or did they say release? Because that's
clarification on this.
Yeah, I need some clarification and that's one of the things we need to ask Vanessa when she comes on, because I'm not too clear on that. And this is one of my favorite songs of all time, Positivity. Yes. Have you had your plus sign today?
Well, one thing about that around the world in a day thing, I know we're getting something. Well, I guess whatever we get is going to be remastered. So
yeah.
It's going to be worth getting if not just for that alone. So, but yeah, I would have liked some clarification myself, to be honest.
Yes.
And my ears must be really bad. Because remastering never means anything to me. Like, I know you guys, you audio snobs. Right? I listen to too many bootlegs. It messed up my hearing young. And so it's like, when it's remastered, I'm like, well, I'm going to just take y'all word for it. Anyway, you must say something, Brother D. My bad.
No.
So,
no, I mean, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. D68A said that maybe Mathilda May is a French film actress. Do we know that to be sure? I don't know. Go ahead, Michael Dean.
No, I just to back up to say I don't need clarification, so I'm just going to assume it's a special deluxe. But the fact that they're going to put out something though, I love to hear it. So yeah, I'm excited though. I mean, I feel like if you're going to say that, then you got to have something special because the fans are going to come at your neck. So yeah, I can't wait to see what they do with this.
Yes. I didn't know there was a Mabel Staples version of Positivity. How did I miss that? What is it on?
I think it's on her album.
Yeah.
One of her albums.
Really? Yeah. Okay. I guess I have to go back and listen. I will say that I don't pull out those two albums as much as I pull out other Protégé albums because I think I'm a little salty. The song that I really wanted to get released was God is Alive.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, why isn't this released?
A state moment. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Please, you guys want a song to put out. That would be one of the great ones because isn't like the rumors that he has multiple people doing vocals on that song, like Patty and.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, I swear I heard it was like he's had people record on that song. He just never put it out, but it's stacked with different people on it.
Oh, that would be amazing.
And I will admit, I did play the first one, the Time Waits for No One album. Mm-hmm. I played that on because there was a lot of grooves that was right in my bucket on that one. And even the 3 or 4 songs that were written and produced by some other people. Because there's one called, I think, Turn the Radio On, or old songs. And I really love that jam, old songs on there. So yeah, I was really into that very first one.
So,
okay, Mike, man, go do your proper Dear Estate moment, man. You know what I'm saying? Go make it.
There you go.
Okay, do it justice now. Come on now.
All right, here we go. Dear Estate, we would love a release. It could be a digital release of the song God is Alive with Prince. It would be great if you could go find the footage where Prince was in the studio with Mavis and they're talking about recording the song. You could make a whole little thing on it. So that would just be an idea that you can do. All right, peace.
All right, I'm going to see if I can. Can I do this? Yes. Okay. Here's another Dear Estate moment. So while we're Dear Estating, I really want a remastered version of The Line with Bonnie Boyer, not the one with the horns, but the one with Bonnie Boyer and Prince on a Love Sexy Super Deluxe. All right, and you can put God is Alive on there too if you want. Okay. All right. We're going to have to ask Vanessa, unless somebody else in the chat went this year. What was the giveaway for attendees this year? Has anyone heard?
Have not.
Yes, and God is alive is amazing. Yes. Okay, here's another dear estate. This is a good one. And it's going to take a while for that one, though. I love Kim. It's like, okay, too much saloning. Okay, we're going to get into it. All right, so, and then we had we got to say Claire Fisher on string arrangements, mixed by Tom Mark. I don't know a lot about Tom Mark, so if you know who Tom Mark is, somebody let us know in the chat. Okay. 127th episode. I got my numbers all wrong last week. Nobody told me. And I think I had 125 last week, but it was this week is right, 127th. And it's week 24 of 1985. What did Prince do this week? What we know. And there was only one studio session by Prince, but that doesn't mean there wasn't a lot of other stuff going on. So Sunday, Monday, and Friday are the other book. Or he's in the Under the Cherry Moon book. I don't know. And then on Tuesday is the only date that Prince was in the studio. And then Sheila's in the studio for the 12-inch of Sister Fate. And I can't remember what went on with Under the Cherry Moon. And then there's overdubs and mix. I can't remember who. I think Wendy and Lisa is on that session, but we'll read about it. And then Wendy and Lisa are definitely in the studio on Saturday, doing overdubs and mixes for Strange Relationship as well as The Dawn. Now, this is another, I'm sorry, I'm going to do one more. Dear Estate, The Dawn needs to be released. All right, not Welcome to the Dawn, but The Dawn. It's a beautiful song. And as most of you should know, he played it during the piano and the microphone tour during basically the day that Vanity died. Is the first time that I'm aware of that he played it live, and it's a really beautiful version. So I put that in the company playlist if you've never heard it, because it needs to be heard. It's a beautiful, beautiful song. And it just reminds you of how many beautiful songs are just in the vault. So I can't wait to hear some of them. Okay, so let's get our reading started before Kim starts cracking that rip. Who wants to start off with Hello and Screams of Passion today?
I'll go first.
All right. Thank you, Steve.
See what page are we on?
162 in the NIV.
Hilarious.
But just look for two. What I do is I just look for the date. So Tuesday, June 11th.
Yeah, Tuesday, June 11th.
Amen.
All right. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brothers. Thank you, brothers. Hello, edits, copies, the Screams of Passion, 12-inch version, edits, crossfades, mixed copies, Sunset Sound Studio 3, 2 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. booked, 2 p.m. To open. Producer Prince, artist Prince, the family, not listed. Engineers Peggy McLeonard and Susan Rogers. Assistant engineer Mike Closer.
Skipping a quote.
All right. After the brief detour on songs for Jill Jones and various music videos, Prince did some additional work on Hello, which was a release of his own, and The Screams of Passion, which was slated to be the first single for the family. Since the family had just shot their video the previous week, it was important for Prince to wrap up the 12-inch version of the track so it could be released in July. It is likely that work had already been done on the track, but some additional edits and crossfades were needed for the extended version, which prominently featured Claire Fisher's arrangements. The Screams of Passion was the perfect. No, this is a quote. This is a quote by Jellybean. The Screams of Passion was the perfect marriage of sophisticated funk and orchestration, remembers Jellybean Johnson. It caught me totally off guard how the strings meshed in with that funky ass groove. It was just a sensual ass song, man. Just a sexy motherfucking song. I'll never forget. I was damn near in tears, end quote. Prince also brought Hello back out and spent 6 hours overdubbing extra guitars and vocals and editing both the single version and the extended version. This 7-inch release is one of the rare songs by Prince that contain sections that weren't on the 12-inch mix. on a single C46 cassette was once a single C46 cassette was made of the Hello edit, and 8 C90 cassettes were created for the extended the Screams of Passion. The session wrapped up around 12:30 a.m. It appears that Prince did not do any recording in the studio until after he returned from a trip to France that was scheduled for the following week. Status: the extended mix of Screams of Passion, 6 minutes and 45 seconds, was reissued on July 17, 1985. Not reissued, issued on July 17, 1985. It went to number 63 on the Hot 100 chart and number 9 on the Black Singles chart. There we go. So wow. Screams of Passion was getting that R&B and BET airplay.
I got a question for you guys. Maybe it may be a technical question, but these cassette tapes, these C46 and C90, are those like I guess do you guys know, or like does anyone in the chat know? Are those like special studio, like were they special like studio like tapes?
Yeah. I used to sell these tapes.
Okay.
At studios. So the C90, I think they were a Maxell brand, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And there were like particular kind of industry standard tapes that cats would use, so everyone used the Maxell C90s. There was another one that they came out with. I can't think of the name.
Now C90, that doesn't mean that it's a 90-minute tape, because that's a lot of. Okay, it does mean that, because that's a lot of tape, man, for one song. Just put one song on there, you got like, you know what I'm saying, like another, like 40, like 80 plus minutes. Yeah.
C60, 30 minutes on each side.
Yeah.
Type of deal. We used to actually sell, we would do all the way to a C10.
Okay. Wow.
Minutes, but we had multiple ones. Yeah.
So wow. So that's, I'm
sorry, there was a C10?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't a Max, so it was there would be like for duplication type thing. So there'd be a C10, C20, 30. 40.
Okay. That's so I knew that I was aware of the 90-minute tape. I just didn't realize that. I just think, man, like that's like a lot of tape space to just make one song, like put one song on there.
Hey, brother Rick, you know what that mean? That mean Prince wasn't like the rest of us trying to time up them damn minutes to have enough songs to run out at the end. They wasn't like he had a problem. He had tapes everywhere. He wasn't trying to time it out, looking at that damn counter, hoping it don't run out for you.
Hey man, boy, hey look, man. Hey, look, I do remember those times.
You anybody see all the way to the end?
Anybody see Sheila E just posted a picture of like she found an old C90 tape or something. I think it was a Love Sexy rehearsal or something.
A Maxell C90. I haven't listened to it, but I saw it. I haven't had a chance to, but I'm assuming it's a Love Sexy rehearsal.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to say about Screams of Passion. I mean, just a fan. That's top tier Prince to me. Like that, it would have been interesting to see if he had to put that song out himself. Like I just think that to me, that's one of his great bodies of work, and everything Jelly Bean said for the exact same reasons. Like it's one of them ones that's actually super groundbreaking in a sense for him at that particular moment, with the strings and everything. And it's funny that it was used for a different artist, but fantastic song.
So I really resonate with what Jelly Bean said as well. And I remember getting that 12-inch in particular and hearing Claire Fisher's strings, because that's the intro, was like nothing I had heard before. I can't explain how magical that moment was. And also like the photography that Susanna talked about, a really famous photographer, Horace, who did the amazing photography. It was just such a vibe, even though that wasn't a word back then, that I felt from like the whole experience. And I think this is the first Claire Fisher that we heard, Claire Fisher collaboration with Prince that we heard. So it's like really, really special. Now, going back to what you just said, Michael Dean, I actually pulled out because I hadn't listened to Prince's version of Screams of Passion in a long while. But like St. Paul did an amazing job with those vocals. If you go back and listen to Prince's version, it gives the song a different vibe because he's singing in a very high register. And it's super, like sometimes, like, okay, another thing I listened to this morning, which I put in the accompanying playlist. I also put this Prince's version of Screams of Passion in the accompanying playlist for those of you who have not heard it or you want to listen to it again, because I hadn't listened to it in a very long time, was hearing Prince do Sister Fate in rehearsal. It gave me a whole new perspective of that song. And that, of the two songs, because we're also going to talk about Sister Fate, I kind of wish that Prince would have released Sister Fate versus Sheila E. But I think that the family and St. Paul in particular sung the heck out of Screams of Passion, just the way that I know I'm going to get, here's when the chat's going to blow up, just the same way that I prefer Morris singing Gigolos Get Lonely Too. Like, I like that's my version versus Prince singing it. So I'll stop.
Well, you know what that means. Time for another Dear State moment. Dear State.
Hold on. Here we go.
D'Angelo has mentioned this in the past. And this is just a perfect segue into another moment for us to plead with you to give us another originals.
Yes.
Since you have, I know, since they're out there of Prince doing these versions of Screams of Passion and Sister Fate and probably some other songs, this would be a great, you could have a volume of Prince originals of him doing songs he wrote for other people, and that would, you know what I'm saying, do very well. We would very much so likely love to hear that. Give them the proper treatment, just like you did the originals one. You're on, I'm saying, man, look, you're on to something. It could be originals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so forth. So, just something to think about, Dear State. And that is the moment. I wanted to say something about Screams of Passion. Last Sunday, I went to me and the missus went to it's kind of like a Prince party, but it was at like a little eatery here. And so, and the DJ, when he played Screams of Passion, it was like everybody in the place just started singing along. Man, some people started doing a little dance, a little zigzag back and forth things. And just, testament, it's just another testament to what Jelly Bean said, hearing it on like, the DJ speakers, when it's thumping and you can hear everything loud and it's clear. And it was just a great moment seeing all these Prince fans of various ages, mind you, not just, our age group, but it was like various ages were there and they were just vibing out like to the song. And it was cool because, most times, sometimes some DJs, if they aren't Prince fans, they strictly, like just play the hits. But this DJ, shout out to him. I forgot his name. You could tell that that dude was a fan. Because when he played this, like everybody was just, it's one of those moments. You know what I'm saying? People were just vibing, fellowship and getting along and stuff. So yeah, I'll shut up like C. says.
I'll hear it.
All right, who wants to read about Sister Fate from Wednesday, June 12th?
I'll do it.
I just say something because I think who was it in the chat? I can't remember. I think Sister Zakia asked a question about the strings, and I think that the point about the strings is that it was new and it was clearly Prince moving in a new direction. So that's what it was. It was, and the fact that Claire Fisher is a genius. So you got Claire Fisher is a genius. We hadn't heard this before. This was a new Prince. And so in real time, remember now, he's still a rude boy, right? For a lot of us, he's still controversy. He's still, for those of us who were on the train before Purple Rain, around the world in the day, I'm not going to say it was a shock to the system, but you could tell that it was like your homeboy had grown up. It was like your homeboy was coming into his own. And so I think that's what it was. It was Prince was showing us even more of himself. And I just want to add, since Brother Lee Christian has entered the chat, Brother Lee, it's good to see you. And Andre, hit up Brother Lee Christian. Y'all hook up this weekend. All right, that's it. Back to the
Lee Christian. I don't know if you weren't here, but Andre Staley from Detroit is in London. So if you're doing a gig, you should let him know so that we can come together in real person. I like the What Did Prince Do This Week crew. That would be really amazing.
I should like pull up on them.
There you go.
Online beef.
No.
Oh man,
No, it's about
meetups.
Michael D.
Yeah, it was facilitated by this podcast. It's like online beef.
There is no
West
beef.
Coast.
No, it's about community. Just real quick, Ricky, hold your thought. I want to address Zakia. I think the quote from Jelly Bean is really important in this particular chapter, because if you've listened to, well, if you had the privilege of listening to some of the parade tracks in particular without the orchestration, it is like night and day. Like the songs really don't sound like the same song. And then even with some of Jill's songs, because there's orchestration from Claire Fisher on Jill's record, if you listen to some of those songs where there's orchestration without the orchestration, you'll understand that, like, for me, it's not just like it's not like just an additional layer of music. It really sort of is like a quilt. It embeds into the music. It is more like a foundation versus just like, a layer on top. But I think what's kind of groundbreaking about it, because, Claire Fisher, he had strings on a lot of stuff. I mean, like over 100 artists, if not more, to be honest. Is he worked with Rufus and Chaka Khan. And while, obviously Rufus and Chaka Khan were also funk, what's interesting about when
the Jacksons too.
And the Jacksons, yeah. But with Rufus and the Jacksons, their music was very there was a lot of stuff going on, especially in any Quincy Jones production. There's like a lot of instrumentation. But with Prince's music at this particular time, it was very, very sparse, which I loved. I love, like, let's say like Irresistible Beat, like that's a very sparse, not much happening musically, but still just as amazing as like a lot of instrumentation. So it was about like hardcore funk being married with like this lush orchestration. And listening to it in real time, maybe it's because I wasn't sophisticated in my listening, because I was only like 14 years old when I'm hearing this, but I thought it was the best thing since sliced bread. Because like I had never heard that marriage of the string orchestration of the genius level of a Claire Fisher, because I've heard a lot of other string orchestrations from other people that don't move me. Just because the strings doesn't mean anything. It's right. Specifically Claire Fisher's orchestration. The same way I can listen to a lot of saxophone, but if it's not Eric Lee's, 9 times out of 10 it does not move me. So it sometimes boils down to the people who are involved, the master of their craft, the way they make instruments sound. I'll stop talking. So I had a keyboard that I had got my first keyboard. I got like a Roland D90 or something like that. And I was like, oh, it sounds okay. And then I had one of my friends come over who could really play. And I was like, oh.
So that's what it sounds like. Right.
It's not the keyboard.
It's you. Hey, I know we don't really like that movie Bird, but it reminds me of the scene when Charlie Parker stole the saxophone. I just wanted to see if it played more than 3 notes.
Indeed. All right, Ricky, I felt like you wanted to say something. I cut you off.
No, yeah, you're good. I was gonna ask you guys. Lunch with Prince asked an interesting question. I don't know if you want to
I didn't see it. I was talking. Well, where's
entertaining? Lunch with Prince. They basically asked, do we think that if adding a Prince originals to a family like reissue would be worthwhile, like for the estate?
Sure, why not?
Yeah. So I think that like if you do a deluxe set of the family with all of the demos with Prince's vocals. So if you have both of those, would that be a more of an incentive for people to get it? And I think the answer would be yes. And I think that'd be a brilliant move, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I think they should do that for all of them, meaning like Vanity 6.
Yep.
Apple 6.
Yep.
The Time, like if they would do like a Time box set with the originals and Prince's versions, I think that would be great.
Yeah, and let me speak for the non-Prince fan person. A lot of times when I'll go to listen to, I'm trying to think, something last night I was listening to. It might have been a Sly album. Matter of fact, it was Sly Family. It was a compilation by Warner Brothers. It was the Warner Brothers years Sly thing. So it was all of the albums, and I had some of those albums, and I'm a big Sly fan, but I don't have all the releases. I don't buy all, but I listen to it, right? Playlists and stuff. And so to me, I mean the same way with Prince, like it just for the person who may listen to this 20 years from now and be like, oh, the Family, Prince did this, okay,
right?
And then you hear the regular album, and then there's another 8 tracks of here's Prince's version of the songs. It's a big deal to us as super fans, but it's also a cool deal for just the person who's just getting into like, oh, I can hear these alternate versions. I might like this version a little better. I'll go listen to some other stuff, but at least that it's available, that you can have the opportunity to get into it. So that's one of the reasons I say, yeah, it's worthwhile to do. You don't even have to be some super thing. Just put it out. It's on digital, so somebody's going to listen to it. It'll be the gateway for somebody,
Yeah. Okay. Cold beans. So you ready for me to read now?
Yes.
All right. June 12th, Wednesday, June 12th, 1985. June 12th is a special day for me. All right. Sister Fate, 12-inch version, Sheila edits and crossfades. Sunset Sound Studio 3, 2 p.m., 12:30 a.m. Short session. Booked 7 p.m. to open. Producer Sheila E. listed. Artist Sheila E. Engineer Peggy McLeonard. Skipping the quote.
No, we're reading the quote.
Oh, we're reading the quote. Okay. Looking back, it feels like he was racing the clock to musically say as much as he could as quickly as possible. The idea of taking a break was alien to him. All right. 7 hours were spent creating the remix of Sister Fate, which includes an instrumental chorus at the start, followed by a sax solo by Eddie M. Minifield, as well as multiple other new elements. 2 C60 cassettes were created of today's mix. Status: the extended version of Sister Fate, 5 minutes 46 seconds, was, it says, released that summer and didn't chart.
All right. For me, I love the Sister Fate extended version because anytime you got to, so like we're used to Sheila now, but this is when Sheila was, just new with us. And I just loved anytime that she was able to showcase her talents. And so that's what the extended version allowed her to do was, I think it's pretty brilliant, the opening of Sister Fate on the 12-inch. So I'm very happy that got released. And it's because of the version that Prince is doing, which I'll show here on the screen. And this is New Paisley Generation posted this just Sister Fate soundtrack from Long Beach from 1985. This version of Sister Fate is incredible. So if you haven't listened to it, it's in the accompanying playlist that you can find on my YouTube channel all the way at the bottom. You definitely want to listen to it. It's pretty infectious. And I find it interesting how sometimes songs sort of shift in the feeling of it. The feeling of the live version, I prefer most songs that Prince do live versus the studio version. With the only except, there are a couple of exceptions. The number one exception being the Ballad of Dorothy Parker. I always want to hear the studio version of the Ballad of Dorothy Parker versus the live version. But that is super, super rare for me to want to hear the studio versus the one.
Yeah.
Yes, D68A. I know you got the full sound check. You got all the sound checks. We really appreciate you.
And in honor of that, this is the D68A show. Appreciate you, brother.
He says channel. I don't think he says show.
Oh, yeah, it says channel. That's right. This is the D68A channel.
Yeah,
Thank you, brother.
yeah.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, we sure do appreciate you, man. But the estate needs to hire you.
That's right.
For real.
In fact, hire you and Sneak. We were going to push for your estate. Please hire D68A and Sneak ASAP. That is all.
Yes. All right, Timekeeper. We're doing pretty good, Timekeeper. And then let's see. Chris Burnett is saying, I love Sister Fate too. Also got to give a shout out to Chris Burnett for their fantastic presentation from the Pop Life 40 Symposium. We also got to give a special shout out to Eddie M for his amazing keynote. If you haven't watched the Eddie M keynote, I highly recommend that you do. He was extremely generous, and it was a gig day. So for him to take time out of his gig day to actually talk to us was a big deal for me. So yes. And I love this question. Maybe it was too R&B for Latin radio and too Latin pop for R&B radio. It might have been.
I actually think it's a weird choice for a single. If you have Love Bazaar sitting here on the wings.
Right.
But I don't know if maybe that was tied into the movie or something.
Yeah, now, the Love Bazaar. Remember they was playing the video for Love Bazaar to promote the film.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, that in defense of Sister Fate, you know, summer '85 was some heavy competition radio wise. You know what I'm saying? Like hip hop was kind of starting to make its noise, and you know, man, some other stuff was going on. You know, it was up against some bangers. Just put it that way.
Yeah.
So there's some questions in the chat. First question from Chanel. Does anyone know why the family isn't available on any streaming platforms? So from what I know, and I want someone to correct me because I don't know if this is true, but based on what I heard is that the estate, and I know they're not called the estate anymore, whatever the Primary Wave and Londell and Charles, like they only have like Prince's stuff. I heard that all the protege stuff is still with Warner Brothers. Can someone did you hear that or hear something different? So that's one thing. I don't know if the estate actually owns it, but maybe they do. I would love to know the answer to that. So
that would be one I would want to know why, because we're talking about copyrights and things reverting back and things being assessed and assigned. That would all should revert back at the same time. And so unless there was some kind of special, and particularly since that stuff would have been on the Paisley Park imprint. So if that stuff is technically on the Paisley Park imprint, then it would be a wide thing of, was there some extra deal cut that would prevent this from reverting back? That's what I would want to know, is because that may let us into some other information about the imprint that we may not know. That's the only reason I want to know that information.
But I think the Paisley Park, like all the recordings on Paisley Park, is one question. And then the other question is, I heard something similar for Vanity 6.
But thing is, Sheila's albums are on Paisley Park, but they're out there.
Well, that's true.
Oh, they're on streaming services?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, all that sounds like logically correct. You know, I think for the family, they just may be a victim of them not being around now, in terms of, you know, like Sheila's still around. So, you know, that stuff can still, you know, kind of be played. Morse still touring, you know, still doing time stuff. So it's kind of, I think it, you know, it may just be, you know, like the family just may be victim of, you know, do they want to, you know, like invest the time in putting it up there and doing all that stuff? You know, I mean, because, you know, I can't see a reason why they wouldn't do it, but as the soundbite goes, you know, this is a business. And so, you know, maybe some suits probably just don't deem it important enough to put it out there.
That's probably all. That's why it hasn't been available.
Yeah.
They just don't see those groups.
Right. As
Those
important.
albums weren't big releases. They didn't sell well. They see them as probably just some Prince knockoff throwaway thing. The only ones that mattered probably to them were The Time, was, pop success, and Sheila E. I would imagine that's why all of the related albums that he put out are not available. That's why Madhouse ain't available. It's nothing to do with the quality of the music.
Right.
I just don't think they didn't value it.
Yeah.
They don't value it.
Yeah.
And I just like to say, TP, you're correct. They are different, but they both revert back the same way. So so you're right. They're and if we're talking, especially stuff with copyrights and masters and all those things, you're right. But they both revert back the same way. My question would be, why is one reverting back and the other isn't? And I think that would give us I think Brother Dean, I really think that Brother Dean hit it right on the head. But I think if that's the case, there may be some other issues as well. And then I guess a bigger question would be, how do people outside of and independent of the estate make it known of the possibility of what might be an untapped cash cow or resource? And I don't think that's something we can take on today, but I just think that, how can I say this? And I'm not trying to put anybody else to work. We all got jobs. We all do things. But I do think, to Brother Dean's point, that there's a missed opportunity for somebody to be able to be kind of like an outside party or a third party to make it clear that you guys may be missing the boat on funds that's out there just because you're not able to see that. I'll shut up.
Man, I think we need to start a petition. Grassroots petition. Just start a petition and present it to the estate and
Man,
But see, and I
zero
guess,
0% of a penny streaming royalty versus probably $5 on a towel set.
right.
The money's over here.
He said on the towel set.
Right.
Well, he's probably. I mean, I think he has Michael. You have a really good point.
Yeah.
We're laughing, but he has a point. So there's one more Dear Estate that I'm going to say. Dear Estate, Arms of Orion live recording and or demo limited release for everybody else.
Listen.
Yeah.
And D'Angelo would be just the person when the unreleased live version come out. That's not bad.
Yep.
I take back what I said all these years.
I can't believe I slept on this.
Well, Daddy Pop, anyone?
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't mind saying that I was wrong, but I'm not wrong yet. Yeah.
Man, not to sidetrack, but at this Prince function that I was at last Sunday, I got asked a question that I'd never been asked for. They asked the people there, could they list 10 of their least favorite Prince songs? Yeah, I've never been asked it before, but I thought about you, D'Angelo. I said, well, first on her list would be Arms of Orion. I know that for sure.
It sure would be.
But it was like 10 of your least favorite Prince songs. I struggled with that, honestly. I was like, wow, 10?
That might be on my list.
Well, you know what? I wouldn't struggle. It just depends on how many songs on this album. Because Hit and Run Part 1, I was so glad Hit and Run Part 2 came out quickly after that.
Wow.
Because I was on my super duper because he did the thing I never wanted him to do, was to get some young hip hop person and produce him. And what you get out of that is Hit and Run Part 1. And that album is just a bunch of sketchy ideas that were never fully developed. And you got a song called Hard Rock Lover that ain't got no damn solo. That's all I got to say.
Theo says, I stand by Shake slander.
Hey, Me and you, Theo. Me and you. And look at Brother Theo. Don't think Brother Dean don't be playing that thing when he by himself jamming to it. He got it mixed up.
Hilarious.
He got it chopped and screwed.
What you
Everything they be doing to it.
Oh my
Hey, people, when no Morrison, like, come on,
love it.
Look, I keep reminding y'all, they chose to play it live when they was on the Pandemonium tour.
Yeah, they
They
did.
did choose to play it live.
Yeah.
that to me, Shake is. I would have rather them do After High School. You know what I'm saying?
Woo. Yeah. Yeah.
You high school talking to you.
So,
Oh man.
needless to say, we all got Prince songs we ain't putting in the time capsule.
top 10 least favorite Prince songs. That's everybody's homework assignment for the week. You got to come back next week with your 10 least favorite Prince songs.
I would love to hear from the What Did Prince Do This Week community, which songs are at the bottom of the list. I think it's
All right.
Yeah, there you go. I think we can all jump on that bus. Sit down. Tell me what you're thinking of.
Lord.
Okay, we're gonna move to Thursday, June 13th. I'm gonna read this one because this is one of my favorite songs. Okay, Thursday, June 13th, 1985, Estimate Under the Cherry Moon overdubs mix, The Complex Studio, Los Angeles, California. Producers Wendy and Lisa, artist Prince, engineer David Tickle. We're skipping the Susan Rogers quote. That's the reason why you need your own book so you can catch up with what we don't read. With the amount of recording Prince was doing and the plans he was lining up for his second film, there was no way he could do everything himself. He began relying on several people, including Claire Fisher for the orchestral parts he couldn't do, David Z for the vocal recording that he couldn't cover, and Wendy and Lisa to fill in the elements that he couldn't hear. I don't know about that, Duane, but okay. Prince always trusted them musically. Confirmed. Susan Rogers. I'm skipping Susan Rogers' quote again. Lisa's a very unorthodox musician, explained Brown Mark. I've never heard anyone voice piano like her. That's what Prince loved about her. And if he felt he could learn from you, he wanted you. I agree with that. I love Lisa's piano voicings. If you were able to get the, I don't know what they called it back then, special edition of Eroica, there was like a little 3-inch CD that only had Lisa's piano on it. I was like just over the moon when that was released because no one plays piano like Lisa. That is absolutely correct.
I have to add, I just sat down, listened to that album yesterday.
Eroica? Yeah. It's if you haven't listened to it, Wendy and Lisa's Eroica, highly recommend it. It's a beautiful record. I love Mother of Pearl. So many songs. Don't get started. Okay. You could see that it just worked, Jill Jones explained what she observed about Prince's relationship with Wendy. His behavior on stage lightened up a lot more. The nuances, the eye contact, the interaction between those two specifically. There was something a little more human and charming and cute because Wendy used to dote on him all the time and tell him how cute he was. And maybe it was because there was finally a girl around who didn't want to shag him. Somebody saying wonderful, feminine, nurturing things, but there's no payoff like, what can I get from this sexually? Offstage, he trusted them enough to have them work on his music independently, so they set up shop at the Complex Studios in Los Angeles to embellish a number of his songs and to bring him ideas. I would like to know why they moved to Complex Studios. That's, I think, instead of Sunset Sound. Okay. So if anybody has heard a interview with Wendy and Lisa and they talk about that, please let us know.
I think she says it right there.
I think the next sentence answer.
He was very busy and it felt more like out of necessity that they were engaged in that role at that point, but he felt safest with it. Maybe it was quality control thing because we had good quality control.
You skipped the part where they said.
I just skipped. Did I skip it? Oh, I think Sunset Sound was booked, explains Wendy. Okay, there you go. He was I didn't want to see that. I think so.
Right. I'm conspiracy theory. Why?
Yes.
Warner Brothers.
Oh my God. If it was a snake, it would have bit me. Okay. During this session, Lisa and Wendy added a variety of overdubs. One is very dark in here because it's about to rain and I need to turn on a light, but then, okay. Added a variety of overdubs to Under the Cherry Moon, possibly even creating a longer version of the track. Prince did not attend or participate. Status, the update version of Under the Cherry Moon doesn't appear to have been used in the film and remains unreleased. The recording dates from the Complex Studios have not been verified, and many of these dates are estimates. And that's the reason why Duane has estimate.
Swan. Baby, I can hear you. I know that song.
Okay. All right. So Under the Cherry Moon is a beautiful song. I never tire of hearing it. And obviously, I want to hear this version.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask a question about Under the Cherry Moon?
Sure.
Did you guys like that song when you first heard it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I was amazed because for me, Kiss, other than probably Girls and Boys and Another Love Hole in Your Head, sounded so different from the rest of the album. And I was just amazed how I immediately remember I said that's Parade is the album where I became an album person only. Like so Parade was the album, you know, a little bit on Around the World in a Day, but Parade was probably the album where I became an album person only. And that was the moment where for me Prince was my, what's the word I want to use? Kaleidoscope. Right, like all the stuff that I like, I could get from Prince, and so Parade was one of those things where it had just about everything I loved on it. So yeah, it was a start to end, just a great experience. I'll shut up.
Well, let me take the opposite approach, or say opinion. In my musical immaturity. I couldn't see that fitting on my slow jam mixtape.
I'm kind of what you did.
You know what I'm saying? I was kind of like, oh, I wanted another, you know, like Beautiful Ones or International Lover or like Do Me type deal. And that wasn't it. And so I was kind of disappointed on that end. But as my ears got more, like musically say, mature, I began to appreciate it more. I heard a instrumental of it just the other day, and I was like, wow, you know, that it you know, it's got a complex man simplicity about it that I dig. Now, if I were to make a 2025 Prince slow jam mixtape, I probably would not include that right off. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like someone would have to remind me, hey, look, you didn't put this on there, and I'd probably be like, well, there's a reason why I didn't put it on there. But you know, it just wasn't a slow jam song to me, but then I had to understand that it's not a slow jam song. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. I mean, it is a slow song, but it's not a song that you would typically think is like a slow jam play like at a school dance where you slow dancing like with somebody. But like it is a slow tempo song, so I have grown to appreciate it more. But initially, I was just kind of like, I can't play this talking on the phone, man. I know girl at night, man. Like this is not one to help seal the deal. So that's me. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was like, I just couldn't understand it at the time. That's all. It was just one of those. I was so used to, again, Syracuse,
Right,
12 inches, Erotic City, and all that kind of stuff. So it just slowed it down to the point where it almost was like weird to me. And and the way the album just, I'm like, whoa, and Kiss is hitting, you know, Kiss is the hit, right? Before the album comes out. So I'm still on that, the 12-inch, Love or Money. So I was just expecting that the whole album was going to be, you know, the jamming Prince that I saw in the America video. As opposed, I didn't understand this emotional sort of thing. And then, you know, just sort of the theme, I didn't understand, like, was he talking about death or something? Like, I was like, whoa. But as I grew up, and yeah, the song is phenomenal. I get what he's doing, but at the time, it threw me for a major loop.
Can you post Blade Brown's comment? No, not that one.
Oh, not that one. Okay. This one?
That one. Let's waltz, baby. That's but that's what
Yeah.
That's Under the Cherry Moon.
So I actually resonate very much with Chris Bournet's comment on the Cherry Moon appealed to me as a moody, introspective teen. I sort of put Under the Cherry Moon alongside. I'm not saying that they sound the same, but if I was going to create a mixtape, it would be like Condition of the Heart. Like, I don't consider Condition of the Heart a slow jam. It's just a very melancholy song. And I sort of feel Under the Cherry Moon the same way.
It's up there with It's Gonna Be Lonely. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect.
So that's the vibe for me personally.
Yeah, and again, I guess, like I said, I guess it's also what you're bringing, right? Like, because I like what Brother Dean said. It's like what you're bringing, what you own at that time, a combination. And so I had, my parents had a lot of those kind of. Is it Carole King, the songwriter? Carole King.
Yes.
Yeah. So we had a lot of Carole King, and what was who's the brother and sister duo? Carpenters.
Yeah, the Carpenters.
So I had a lot of Carole King, and my parents had a lot of Carole King and Carpenters in their collection. So that those kind of whimsical, slow but non-slow jam songs were kind of in my DNA. So it was kind of like, oh, okay, this is cool. But so that's why I get that. And just one thing, Chris P, I am not drinking muscle milk. I'm drinking Slim Fast. So yeah, and I do jog. I get up at 5 a.m. and jog every morning. But yeah, this is not muscle milk. This is Slim Fast. All right, let's back to the purple.
How far you jog, brother?
I jog 1.3 miles every morning, Monday through Thursday. Now I'm on the treadmill. I used to, because I jog at 5 in the morning. I used to do it outside, but here's what I learned with dogs outside. When you scream at 5 in the morning, people will hear you, but ain't nobody opening the damn door. So I got tired of I've literally been chased. I got chased by a pit bull and Rottweiler in the same damn week. And
I'm getting pops from Friday vibes. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I had to go and buy, and that's one of the reasons to this day I don't like people who own pets. So I'm sorry, people who have pets, but because I had to buy a treadmill because you people who own pets wouldn't keep your dogs on a leash. That's one reason I don't like people who own pets. Let's move on.
All right. Let's see. Monitor says, but for the parade on the Cherry Moon, there was a radio promo ad where Wendy and Lisa introduced most songs as they played behind them. They spoke in that computer blue monotone manner.
Interesting.
I don't know about this. I haven't heard this. So thanks for letting us know. Maybe someone can D68A, do you have that? Or is that floating around on YouTube or something? That would be good to know. All right.
It just reminds me of something that I hope whenever they do some sort of documentary, I don't care who makes it, but that they show sort of the change in time, or maybe show people's reaction to when they see Prince again. Like, I'd be curious to see how people. Okay, there was Purple Rain, and then I'd be curious if they had footage of people when they saw what he looked like after Purple Rain. We talked about it last week. Raspberry Beret, like visually seeing how he changes over time. I thought that's just something I think is missed, where we kind of forget, like, you didn't see him for a long time. You just saw what he looked like, and then he comes back and it's just totally different. I just feel like this would be one of those things where it's like,
yeah, man, because even from the Raspberry Beret video to that interview when he, sits and talks on MTV and then does the America video, there's like a difference in look in between then. So it was like a huge,
and you just kind of had to guess at, wow, what happened? What, how did he get to this? Like, what's going on here? You're trying to figure out what he's got on. Like, it's kind of the same as Purple Rain, but it's different. Like, what? To me, that was fascinating, man.
Yeah.
All right, who wants to read?
I do because I love the power that is. No, brother, he hadn't read. Never mind.
Well, no, if you want to,
go ahead. I know you're gonna do strange relationship justice.
Trust, I'm not tripping, man. This is your.
No,
This is
go
yours.
ahead. No, do it. I know you're gonna do strange relationship justice. I trust it in your hands.
Now, see how intimidating that is to follow. See, he was about to tear it up, but no, he's like, hey, you go ahead and do it. Okay. Of Saturday, June 15th, 1985, Strange Relationship, Wendy and Lisa overdubs, mix, The Dawn, Fairlight, strings, horns, overdubs, mix. It's interesting that they would list the instrument. They don't do that with other ones like bass, guitar, Fairlight.
That's because Lisa was in love with the Fairlight.
I guess.
I actually noticed the same thing, Michael, when I saw that. Yep.
Complex Studio, Los Angeles, California. Producers Wendy and Lisa. Artist Prince. Wow. Engineer David Tickle. Quote, no quote. Do the quote. Okay. This is by Eric Leeds. There was tons of stuff that he was just doing on his own. I mean, he was just living in the studio. And there was a lot of other stuff that Wendy and Lisa were working with him on, too. A lot of which didn't see the light of day. It was absolutely ridiculous. Damn, Eric, okay. Lisa and Wendy are writers themselves, and they write well. And they had a sensitivity to Prince as a writer that is hard to find, explains Susan Rogers. They are in a small group of musicians who usually end up being studio musicians because they are so good at taking what someone else wrote, receiving it, understanding it, putting their own unique spin on it, yet remaining true to the original sense of the song. Today, they were adding overdubs to Strange Relationships and The Dawn, two songs he'd been crafting for more than a year. Although Strange Relationship dates back over 2 years earlier, as Prince recorded it during the 1999 tour, Wendy recalled that they got a master tape of Strange Relationship that had Prince's vocals, piano, and drums. He said, take it and finish it. So Lisa and I went back to Los Angeles and created the other parts to it. We also played the congas on it and put it through the old school publishing, continues Wendy. The Publison, if that's the right way to say it, is a piece of studio equipment that can shift the pitch of a sound. Prince would use that a great deal on his recordings in 1986, especially on his work as Camille. They would also add horns and strings from the Fairlight on the Dawn. In many ways, Prince had made them an extension of himself, and this partnership put more strain on the band. We worked with him more than anyone else, remembered Lisa. For a while, we were just about the only people he worked with. We were Prince embellishers. We embellished his musical vision. Status. Additional mixing for Strange Relationship, 6 minutes and 25 seconds would take place the following week, and it would eventually be edited to 4 minutes and 1 second and remix, losing almost everything that Wendy and Lisa added to the track for release on Prince's Sign of the Times album, Petty Alert. The version that was approved by Prince from the upcoming sessions was included on the Sign of the Times Super Deluxe Edition 2020. The Dawn, 14 minutes and 51 seconds, remains unreleased, although Prince performed the number in Melbourne, Australia during his 2016 piano and a microphone tour, seemingly in connection with the passing of Denise Matthews, aka Vanity, the day before. He subsequently started performing it during other piano and a microphone tour shows as well. Man.
Boy, that is one of my favorite Prince songs.
Yeah. Like I don't have, like, I'm sure like everybody, people say, what's your favorite Prince song? What's your favorite? And I don't have a favorite Prince song, but I will say this. Lyrically, musically. I'm sorry, Lord.
Strange Relationship.
The whole damn sign
Take your time, man.
Strange Relationship.
Thank you. Strange Relationship, lyrically, musically, fucking perfect. Like it is shit talking Prince, right? Let's be clear who that is, right? When you get shit talking Prince, and it's layered with funk, and it's groovy, and it's soulful, right? I've never heard a bad version of that song, I've never heard a version that didn't make me not amazed at it. Studio live, the version that they do for the pre-show, right? When they're doing the rehearsal gig, is probably some of the funkiest stuff I have ever heard in my life. This song is perfect. There is not one thing I would change, and it has never ever let me down. Cold ass shit talking lyrics, everything. I'll shut up.
Yeah,
when I read it, no,
I'll
Mike,
just
go
say
ahead,
real
man.
quick. It is to me Prince on his Sly bag.
Yep.
And it also is Prince on his Billy Eckstein.
Yep.
Something for nothing mean nothing. It's a flip on that.
Oh,
in
the
a-
Billy
in a way.
Preston.
Yeah, Billy
Billy
Preston. Yeah.
Excuse me. It's like I hear, you know, it's that Sly that what's the bass player's name?
Larry Graham.
Larry Graham. You know, it's
Yeah.
just boom boom. If you want me to stay, it's in that same kind of pocket. And I love when Prince, the way he interprets that type of shit when he hears it and plays it back. And I'm so thrown off because I see who's sitting here on the wings, and that's my sister. So what's up to you? But yeah, man, that song is ridiculous. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I know, man. I know when I first saw mention of it in the infamous Rolling Stone like interview, I was like, man, like, will we ever get to hear this? And then
Right.
when it would, I know when I saw that it was on Sign of the Times, I just remember like that was I was so anticipating hearing that song. And I mean, like Celie says, and then I was elated when he brought it back for like the One Night Alone era and like that live versions. And Miranda gets the little solo bass break, man. You know what I'm saying? She's doing her thing on it. It's just, I mean, like Celie said, it's just like a perfect song. I mean, if there ever was a perfect song, like that is definitely one where it's like, it's.
And the way it starts, right? Just the pump. Oh, God, you just like, God damn, right? It's just the way it starts, man. I mean, and I don't want to go. It's like, man, the first time I heard that damn album, man. The first time I heard that album you go home and you put it, you take the damn plastic off of it and you put that damn double album on and you just like, I mean,
zone out.
And look, the Sign of the Times album was just like, I was just like, after I heard that thing, I was like, and I know I'm wrong, I was like, I don't want to hear shit from nobody fucking else ever again. Don't say shit about Prince. Keep whatever criticism you got about Prince to your fucking self. That's it. I shut up.
Oh man.
Oh, and welcome, Sister Vanessa, to our very tone and reserved discussion.
Thank you for joining us this Saturday afternoon. Glad to have you.
Be here. Thank you.
All right, so I am so excited that Vanessa is joining us to fill us in on what happened last weekend in Minneapolis for Celebration 2025. None of us on the screen except for Vanessa attended, so we're so excited to hear what Vanessa has to say. So take it away, and I'm sure we have a lot of questions.
Well, first, I've got a preface. I didn't do Celebration. I flew in just because they announced for the concert.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go this year, but when they announced that it was going to be the family, Jesse, the time, I was like, I don't think I can stay here in New York, and the FOMO would have been too real. So I flew in. I did not see the opening acts because, and I'm sorry, I didn't have any interest. I was like, so we got there as soon as the family came on. It was great. They were great. They did a couple of their F Deluxe songs. They started with High Fashion, and they kind of slowed it down. And yeah, they slowed it down and then paused, and then they would come back in. It was just a great way to start the show. They did Desire, River Run Dry. What was the other one? Screams of Passion, obviously. They did Mutiny. Yeah, it was really good. And I wasn't too familiar with their F Deluxe songs, which were kind of more rockish based, wasn't as funky. But it was good seeing them. Eric Leeds did his thing. Jerome was fantastic. The energy was just, yeah, it just brilliant. But moving on to the next one, Jesse. Jesse Johnson was, I'm still on a high. He came out in his rock bag. He, we were like, okay. He started off with Bare My Naked Soul. And then he did one other track after that, which was rock. And then he went into Do Yourself a Favor. And he, in between songs, he was talking. And, he just kind of like said, I have to do something for my brother, Pepe. Then he shifted gears and went into the funk to the point where it was just so heavy. Somebody in the crowd yelled out, "That boy is cold." He was so good. Like, his guitar work was incredible. When he was doing the rhythm guitar, it was like amazing. And then when he would do his solos, just incredible. Jesse did my favorite, Can You Help Me? Then he went into I Want My Girl.
Man.
Then he did She I Can't Resist.
Man.
Crazy. This is the order as well.
Wow.
And then Addiction. Then Love Struck. It was just, we were losing our minds. And it, I think they all were on for about an hour, but it felt longer. Like we were getting a lot out of the how they, mix it together. It was, we got like a packed show. Then Morris comes out. I've seen Morris many times. He kind of does pretty much the same thing, but some of the songs I hadn't heard him perform before. So it was more, he did a lot of his solo work. So Fishneck, Oak Tree. He did, and let's not forget, Jelly Bean was playing drums for him. Let's not forget that part. He did some, Sometimes I Get Lonely, which I hadn't do that before. Which was
late.
Yeah,
Hey, Brother Dane.
yeah. He did that, and he did what's the other ballad that he did that I like from his solo? Oh, I can't. I'm blanking.
Not Love Is a Game. Please don't tell me.
No, he didn't do. I would have died if he
Don't make me wait. Don't make me wait.
No. My brain is not working. Sorry.
So when don't make me wait.
No, he didn't do that. I would have died with that one as well.
A Man's Pride. Was it A Man's Pride?
No, he didn't do that.
Was it Oh Baby? Gigolos Get Lonely?
No, it was he did was it Girl? He did Girl.
Girl.
Oh.
Girl.
Girl.
Yeah. Like, oh. He just did a little bit of it. Obviously Jerked Out, The Bird, Gigolos, and he ended with Jungle Love. What was really nice about, like, one of the, I get to my feelings on the Morris Day show based on who was in the building, but he ended with Jungle Love. And, some of the other bands, they came on the stage. And what was really beautiful was that St. Paul, he was on the stage doing the dance moves.
Cool.
He didn't go on the stage. Like, personally, I felt they had Jesse, they had Jerome, they had St. Paul. That would have been the most, complete original time that we will get, I kind of think it was a lost opportunity of not having Jesse, St. Paul, and Jerome on the stage with Morris, but we know it's a business. So that was
a bit bigger check.
Yeah, that was the only thing that I would say that was kind of, it would have been a closer had, they come out with Morris Day for that. But yeah, it was for $100, it was absolutely worth the trip to go there. And then the following day they had the street fair, which was, local talent. And Jada Nicole, she was the opening act for the Friday night show. So I did get to see her, and she actually really good singer. So my bad that I didn't go to the opening show because she was good. But yeah, and Purple Highs, their party was excellent. Got to meet Elliot, one of our guys, at the rooftop. It was brilliant. Dudley D, he really does a fantastic job he gets live audio and layers it with another song of Prince's. So it's like you're dancing to two songs at the same time. He's just really, really good at how he mixes. So yeah, I'm very happy that I went.
So, quick question, and it's more of a general question, but I do want you to answer, but it's a general question to everyone else. I am not a fan of crowd people coming up and dancing on the stage. That shit annoys me. I'm just going to be honest with you. And so, the last 10, 15 years, that's kind of how they end with the bringing the people on. And that's just so I guess my question is, one, did they do that? And then how do you feel about that? Not to take away from I'm just wondering, am I the only person who think that if you pay the ticket, watch the show and take your ass off the stage? But anyway, so did that happen? And then how does anybody else feel about that?
Well, I don't have a problem because I did get on the stage with
my
man years ago at the park in Brooklyn.
She's like,
I don't have a problem with that. But what a funny thing that happened with that, Chris Robb, he flew in late. Literally saw him for 2 minutes, and he missed Jesse. He missed the time. Not the time, the family. He wheels his little suitcase in. By the end of the time show, I'm seeing Chris doing Church Love. Like, what is going on?
Get his money worth.
Very funny moment.
That's so great. And I'm glad that you got to see Elliot. So, Celie, for me, I don't want to see anybody dancing either, but I understand because it means a lot to the people who are actually on the stage. Right. So I can deal with it. But what I can't deal with, and Mr. Al Green is exhibit number 8, is when he...
Sing it!
Yes! Yes. They won't sing their own song and they want people in the audience to sing the song. I do not like that.
I when you said that, I've been to see Al Green. Look here, I saw Senator Al Green and Saved Al Green. And I can tell you now, with Al Green, you're going to get a lot of sing along. You're going to get a lot of that with Al.
Yes. So can you imagine Prince was doing that all the time? I would have not been happy. Nope.
The only people who get to do that was Frankie Beverly and Mays because it was a staple. Everybody else, you should be singing your own songs. Frankie Beverly and Mays is the only act that we come to sing your songs to you. That's it. All right, Brother Dean, Rick, and then we get back to Vanessa giving us the rundown.
Real quick, I don't have a problem with them dancing on stage as long as it's a part of the show and it's entertaining. To get people up there who can dance or do something, can make it fun, and then I don't have a problem with it. Sometimes I think it goes a little too long.
Right.
That'd be my thing. But I think this, in terms of Prince, I mainly think it's cool because to me, the people that he gets up there, I sometimes feel like they're clowning on them people a little bit. And particularly Prince starting clowning on people. And I think that's kind of funny. And it's funny because I think, to me, it's funny in the sense of when I look at his audience, I'm like, wow, this is what his audience has become or evolved to. Right. And it's a great thing, but it's remarkable because just looking at the music, sometimes I'm surprised by the breadth of different people that are attracted to Prince. And I think it's cool to see that on stage because you don't normally see that where it's just so many different types of people, So I do like that part.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Michael, the only, and Rick, I know you need to speak, but what's annoying is, on that Welcome to America show that was bundled with Welcome to America, when the lady started messing with his boots and he got distracted.
Right.
If you're distracting you know, Prince in particular, from his performance, I have a problem with it. But if you're just doing your thing and he's okay, then we're cool. So I just wanted to
I agree with that, but the way he handled that made that so dope. Like that's one of my favorite parts. I'm like, see, I love this guy. Like because he could have been like
security.
But he plays it, you know, he's such a smooth dude with it, man.
And since we going there, we can't forget the crazy lady from the 1996 Love for One Another Emancipation.
That's something else.
You know, that funny moment when Princess stops and goes, on the one, security. I said, go ahead, brother Rick.
And Kim K. I was at that Welcome to
I
America.
was there too. Oh.
He was like, get off the stage. I had pictures, and I was just like, how are you going to go on Prince's stage and not dance?
Yeah.
So that was the only recourse.
And Rick, you haven't said?
I'm probably like maybe 70-30. I cannot take it. You know, I lean towards that way. But when it happens, as long as it's for like the certain moment and in that particular song, like, you know, like I think with Prince shows, you didn't see it for certain tours, but then he brought it back like after Purple Rain, and then he brought it back, and it would be, you know, for certain dance numbers, it would be cool. But I'm kind of more so, as long as it doesn't take away from his performance and say the shows, you know, so I'm good with it. Not everybody can do it, you know. I don't think you'll ever see like D'Angelo doing that, you know, not, you know, and I don't think he has any songs in his catalog where he could do that, you know. And then again, you know, like Prince, you know, does it or did it at certain points. So I'm kind of like 70-30 with it, you know. But I lean more so towards the not kind of seeing it. But, you know, I know, you know, man, for some people that's, you know, like who've done it. I know some folks who've done it and they enjoyed it and they thought, you know, and it was cool. And, you know, man, for those that do it, hey, you know, I'm happy that they get a chance to kind of get up there and do their thing. So,
and I will just say for the record, we have had the opportunity. You know, I'm like probably everybody on this screen. We've probably seen the time more times than we can count and remember. You know, there are lots of casinos in Mississippi, so the time plays. You know, for the last 20 years, the time has been played damn near every casino in Mississippi. And so we go on to every one of them casinos. So we've had more than the opportunity. And I remember, you know the one where when they bring all the women on the stage and you could tell who are real fans and not real fans. And so the guy looked at Monica, who's my wife. The guy looked at Monica, and Monica was like, oh, no, player, not for this portion of the show. I just remember her going like, nope, not for this portion. And she was like, she said, call me when it's time to do the bird. Won't be turning my backside to the crowd. So that's it. I said up.
I just wanted to add, it's something to think about too, that with Prince, the celebration aspect of his performance, that's a part of the Prince thing. Like, I don't know if maybe it started with the Purple Rain shows. I don't know. He didn't do this in 1999, right? Where they brought up people.
No, right. It started
started at Purple Rain, like, and then just continued. Like, it was the celebration. And in the later years, it really comes back in even stronger where, yeah, we're going to get the people up on the stage and celebrate.
Right.
You know, we made it. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I feel like that's a part of Prince, I think, to the mainstream. Where it's a party. You go to see a Prince show to have a great fucking time. Even you don't even buy the records, but you know when Prince is coming to town, you know what that means. That means it's a celebration, man. I think that's something we forget to the mainstream people. They wasn't even buying his records, but they would go to them concerts because they knew what it meant. You know, it was a celebration. So for people to be on that stage, that's what he meant to people. Like you got to party with Prince. That was the whole thing. You know.
Right. That makes sense. I'll hold you on that one. That makes sense.
So while we're talking about this, like another thing that really really annoys me.
Just to say, those Prince parties that the celebrities speak about also push that narrative.
Yeah,
of the Prince party. That's the
31,
thing.
21, right. For sure. Right. So is when people, not necessarily Prince, because Prince actually didn't do this a lot. When people talk in between songs, but particularly if Prince did talk too long at a concert, I would go, there's a song that you could be playing right here. Just because he had so many songs. And, 9 times out of 10 is a song that I would have loved to have seen live. So I just know that there are a lot of live performers who like to talk in between songs. I don't need that. Just play the songs so we can hear the songs, because everybody has their song and you may not get your song because they've been talking. So, yeah.
Thank you for saying that, because I hate them people. And I told y'all about old tight suit wearing dude. He still owe me $20. His tight suit wearing ass talked the whole night rather than sing. Let's move on.
Okay. All right, Vanessa, anything else you'd like to say in terms of Minneapolis, the parties outside and all that? You're good?
I
Can I
want to ask you a question? Actually, how was the people? What was the turnout like, in your opinion?
It was good. It was a really good turnout for the show, because I was only there for that. It was crowded. They had it kind of sectioned off where the VIP were on, like, when you walk in to the left, they had most of the space. And then, the general, which I was to the side. So I couldn't, my camera, like what I shot, it was just in one location, where I usually like to move around, and I couldn't get to, I'm like, oh, they've encased this whole place. So that wasn't cool. They should have kind of given them maybe not so much space and allowed, general to get a little bit closer, but yeah, everyone was really into it, like, singing out and dancing, and seeing Brooks was there with Frank on his head, which was kind of cool. Obviously, they were all walking around. Everyone was walking around afterwards, so you got to, chat with. I got to chat with St. Paul, which I was really happy about. He signed my LP and single, so I was very happy about it. Yeah. So yeah, it was a really nice event. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm glad I went.
Yeah, you answered my question. I was going to ask you, did it feel like a corporate show or a show? That's what I was going to ask you. Did it? Okay.
Yeah. And I'm actually looking forward to the family going on the road more, because although they were good, they need to be together more. To where Jesse, he just did his thing. Like, there was even a point where he even forgot the lyrics or came in at the wrong time, but he's so good at what he does, he just kind of fell right in. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the family do shows, because they really have it, and they're only going to grow together more. St. Paul, he's always performing, whereas together, that's what they need to do more. And Jelly Bean's out there with Morris now, so
I wish they could do, like, even if it was like just 10 shows or something. Family, Jesse, the time. We're gonna go. We would go see
lineup. It was a great lineup. It absolutely worked perfectly. Where it was like, oh my God, all these songs, three bands, and everything I know. It was
awesome.
Yeah, it was a great lineup. Great lineup.
I know. Did Jesse introduce his band members, or did
he did not
say? Okay.
He did not. Yeah, he just did his songs and told stories in between. I couldn't make out the stories because he was kind of mumbling, and I had like a chatty Kathy behind me. When he said, "Shut up!" People were laughing, so he, whatever stories he was telling were funny, but I just had someone who was a bit noisy.
He was just like,
yeah. So to that point, and I want to say this because I love Jesse. I love Jesse. Let me say this again before I say this. I love Jesse. Let me say it one more time. I love Jesse. But Jesse does tend to be a little too chatty for me live. Like, he really does seem to be. And Jesse always kind of remind me. I don't know if you guys have gone to, like, like poetry readings to like big poets who won awards and stuff, and they always seem like that they just realized they had a poetry event that day, so they flipping through their damn book to find what poems they gonna read. And I'm like, did you know you had a reading today? You didn't have like 5-6 poems already picked out. You going back? And so my question, Sister Vanessa, was how chatty was Jesse, and did it impact the flow of the groove in it for you?
Well, because I couldn't make out a lot of what he was saying, it did break it up for me. But if you were in a position where you didn't have noise behind you, it was part of the show.
Okay.
And it, you know, the interactions that he was getting from the audience, obviously what he was talking about, and I'm mad that I don't know, but they were having a good time. Our girl Tammy was up front, and there was a few moments where he was singing just to her.
Oh,
Yeah, she was just like, "Did you see that? Did you see that?" Yeah,
I ain't mad at you, just.
yeah. So it was fun.
What song was he singing? Do you?
It was.
I want my girl. No, I'm just saying.
I'm just wanting.
There's a couple of songs, but when he was talking between songs, he was talking to Tammy. Yeah.
Oh, okay, wait a minute. I'm kind of lost. Who's Tammy? Tammy, someone.
Alana.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
her screen name.
she participates a lot in the symposia.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And she also helps do like the stage design for a lot of the Chris Rock performances.
Right.
Oh yeah, okay. Now,
If
okay.
you saw the
Now I
Dirty
remember it. Yeah.
show,
Yeah.
yeah.
And they
Yeah,
did
now I
they did the presentation together.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
they
Okay.
did
Now
one
I remember.
presentation.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I remember. Sorry, Tammy. I do remember now.
Yes. So
Tammy.
yeah, shout out to Tammy. You gotta shout out Tammy and
Yeah.
Chris Rob, who are
Yes.
like they're amazing. So Man Ray 10, like, are you saying that Brian Edwards and Jerry Hubbard were
Jerry Hubbard on bass.
on,
Yeah.
Wow.
on base at Paisley Park? Or
Yeah.
are you just saying that they are Jesse's band members?
Right.
We were asking about who is on the stage at Paisley Park. So can you confirm, are you talking about if they were on at Paisley Park? That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, Jerry Hubbard said on Funkatopia when he and St. Paul's are on there that he and Jesse were going to be doing some shows, and
Okay, so
he was playing with him again. So that's kind of the reason why I asked the question, was Jerry Hubbard kind of there? Well, let's see.
And you probably covered this. Did he play anything from Verbal Penetration?
No.
Oh, he can play 100 watts of funky. Oh, come on, Jesse. Jesse.
all right. So Ricky, do this for D68A.
Oh, woo. All right. Dear Jesse's Estate,
Hilarious.
where do we start? Man, we want so much. Dear Jesse's Estate, one, we would like to get a First Avenue show, like remastered. I know for Blu-ray. We would like the earlier catalogs, like remastered. You know, say the earlier albums include the Tomorrow and the Scene, both albums, and the Crash and Cool
Yes.
School.
Yes.
We would love to have if Jesse has a vault, you know what I'm saying? That would be great. We would just love Dear Jesse's Estate if you guys would be a little bit more active and get us some stuff, because Jesse has a lot of fans out here. We would love to have his catalog and stuff, man. And if you can't give us, you know, like super deluxe sets, at least give us some like remastered stuff. Definitely some live shows, you know, First Avenue, and maybe some Shockadelica shows, you know.
Ooh, yeah.
You know, some things along that nature, and with slides, recent passing. If you have some behind the scenes footage of filming that video, crazy, or working with slide, that would be great. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of give us all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? A&M people, if y'all are still in contact, man, with Jesse's folks, y'all can work that out. You know what I'm saying? Y'all missing out on some funds coming in, and we would love, and we would love to see that. And for all the little future aspiring guitar players, they need to see Jesse, you know what I'm saying, and see what he was about and see what he does. And we would love to see that. You know what I'm saying? All right.
Jesse Johnson is at home yelling to scream, "I ain't dead, motherfucker!"
Probably. Probably.
But we still want all that. Jesse's estate. We want all that.
Yeah, we want all that and some more, man. I mean, yeah, you know, because this is the the 40th of his first solo release, the 40th of Tamara and the scene. You know, there's stuff out there, some rehearsal audio, something, you know, stuff out there, man. You know, and we love to hear it.
Yeah, and I know I say this a lot, but I still feel robbed of my 4th Jesse Johnson album in real time. Like I just, you know, after that 3rd album, he had become an artist that you were waiting on the next. Like they had gotten to that status, and that we didn't get that 4th Jesse Johnson album, and we got it 15 however many years later. But I still feel robbed of the fact that we didn't get our 4th. To when I thought that he was at that peak, about to really blow up into the stratosphere even more. So I'm with y'all. I would really like to see some releases and some other stuff, because I especially when you mentioned the guitar, you know, that's one of my pet peeves, right? We unless you follow blues like me, and a lot of people don't follow blues, you know, the black guitar player, I'm not gonna say has disappeared, but I think that we've missed out an opportunity to celebrate Jesse Jackson. Jesse Johnson. I don't know where I am today.
I am.
Somebody keep hope alive. But I think we really missed the opportunity for to celebrate what Jesse means in the history of guitar playing. I'll shut up.
All right. So I
double that, Seeley, being a former guitar player and before I switched to bass. I definitely double that. I think I don't know, maybe we may need to get a petition, man, for Jesse too. Like, say, brother, you know, we need you to, you know, come on out. You know what I'm saying? Say, hey, look, if you need some help in getting stuff together.
Well, I will add to this. I think you know what you might be speaking about. You know, the power of that imagery of the black guitars. You know, where we just saw it, and you can tell
that because I want to answer that. Go ahead,
brother. That it always resonates, even when we don't think it. It appears in the funniest ways. I think the movie Sinners sort of plays into that aesthetic, and we don't even realize sort of that's part of the appeal of it too. I think is to see that blues man, the guitarist man type of vibe. There's still something that resonates in our soul. I don't think we even realized we were missing it, and when we saw it in that way. But I know CD's about to just go on that. So, but I just want to throw that out there.
So, Black Bear, you proved my point. You couldn't name but 2. That's it. Oh, and right. I'm gonna name another one you should have named, but you can't because Samson has destroyed. You don't know who Kingfish Ingram is. Right now, Kingfish Ingram is keeping alive the blues tradition. Now, if you go listen to the Sinners album, you'll hear Kingfish Ingram all over that Sinners album. That's my point. The point is that we can only mention 2, that when our day and era, we would run out of time before we would run out of black guitar players. My point is that because we didn't take advantage of who Jesse is and what he did, and because we didn't keep celebrating it, right now, and I'll end on this. Name the last time the last top 5 songs on the chart, on black charts, was songs by all black musicians, no samples. Name the last time the last top 5 black songs or songs by black artists were all songs by musicians with no samples. So the question, so again, that's my point. We should be able to name more than 2 or 3 or 4. And I'm not, again, I'm you know, that was my point. That if we can't name more than 2 or 3, we have shirked our duties, and we are not doing what we should be doing, is keeping alive the black musician, and for me, the black guitar player. I'll shut up. And again, if those of you who don't know, Kingfish Ingram, go check him out.
Man, you know, I can speak to that plight firsthand. Because back when we were in high school, and I'd be walking around school, man. I know my guitar case going to jazz band. I would often get, "Oh, you trying to be white?" And
Right.
this was at the height of, Prince was in his height, Jesse was doing his thing, and that was like, and I used to like had this dumbfounded look on my face, like, "Wow, you that ignorant?" You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like, like people really, and I heard that like repeatedly. So, like when Prince says and don't play me, I'm he says he says I'm the wrong color, and because I play guitar. I felt that. like I know what that feels like, and it's unfortunate that if you go in our community and you ask our people, like they associate that with what I'm saying, white rock guys. If kid playing a guitar, like they associate that with white rock guys. They don't associate that with, like C. Lee said, blues cats or whatever, because there is no one to name. Like like most young kids that play guitar these days, if when I mention the name, some of them will know, like Isaiah Sharkey. He plays with D'Angelo, man, phenomenal cat. You know what I'm saying? But he's like one, and then it's a huge gap until, like C. Lee says, until you name somebody like, oh yeah, Prince played, or Vernon Reid played, or I mean, like Lenny Kravitz plays. And granted, it's all the Al McKays, man, from Earth, Wind and Fire. You know what I'm saying?
Why do you think it's like that? Why do you think
Charlie Singleton? Why do I think it's like that?
Yeah.
This
is one thing to say. We all know that.
Yeah. It's
why is like why?
I'll get my answer.
Well, I know for one thing nowadays you don't have. There's not an artist or there's not a band of brothers that kids can point to and say, oh, like this guy. You know what I mean? It's not. It's not a singular artist. It's not a band. Like Mint Condition is like the last band. Tony. Like that's like late 80s or early 90s. It's not anybody current. And so that's one reason why. Another reason why is, man, because the ones that say we had, like C. Lee said, man, to a certain extent, we don't celebrate. It's
why we don't celebrate?
Lack of musical knowledge. You know what I mean?
Musical knowledge.
I mean, because and think about it. Cameo, like Earth, Wind and Fire, Barcades. You know what I'm saying? All these brother bands had brothers playing guitars. You know what I'm saying? But if you were to ask them, okay, who is Al McKay? Oh, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Who is Charlie Singleton? You know what I'm saying? Who is Dwayne Wiggins? Who
why do you
think
think
Odell?
That's the question. You
I mean, because it's not being celebrated. I mean, man, I know we'll celebrate, the cat that can imitate a moonwalk, but not a cat that can play Sweet Thing. Shout out to Tony Maiden from Rufus. You know what I mean? And so, okay, Ernie Ives, thanks, Big Sexy. You know what I'm saying? And so, like we as a culture don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't celebrate our own. So I can't look for other people to celebrate us if we don't do enough of that of our own. And I mean, it's cats, it's like a few jazz cats, but it's not that many. And so, until we get to the point where we celebrate our own and say, hey, man, check this out or whatever. And man, I know we got to stop this. I mean, again, if a young kid is coming up and he says, I want to play guitar, that's the time to say, oh, okay, bet. I want to introduce you to some people that look like you that play, not criticize. Oh, look, you're trying to be this, or man, you're trying to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because there's too much of that going on still, unfortunately. You know,
There are
go ahead, see, I'm sorry.
There are 3 reasons why. Reason number 1, RCA created a second record label called Camden. And they made sure to put Little Richard on Camden so Elvis could be on RCA. That was beginning of what was called Race Records. Because on Monday, Little Richard was a rock and roll artist, and on Tuesday, he became an R&B artist. And as Little Richard said, R&B never meant rhythm and blues, it meant real black. So with the advent of that, so that's the first reason, was the industry purposely divided and created the genre so that Elvis and Pat Boone wouldn't have to compete against Little Richard. Number 2, Ford and Reagan cut educational funding, and when Ford and Reagan cut educational funding, the first thing that got cut in black neighborhoods was
the music programs.
Music funding.
The music program.
And so because instruments are so expensive, black children, unless they were playing in the marching band, had no access to instruments. That's number 2. And then number 3 is, once those 2 things were put into motion, you are now into your 3rd generation of young black children who do not regularly hear live musicians. So when you have those 3 things, I know people talking about there are bands here, there are bands there. Again, no one can name the last time the top 5 songs by black acts were all by black musicians. And you probably gonna have to go back 10, 15, maybe 20 years. So those 3 things. So the problem is you are into your 3rd generation of black children who are not used to hearing live instrumentation. And since they're not used to hearing live instrumentation, it doesn't hit the same. And so you have to look at those 3 things combined as to why you don't have at the charts, at the leading thing of black musicians. And because many of the black guitar players that are being put in the chart, they are 45 or older. Many of the black guitar players that y'all are putting in the chart are 45 or older. I'm talking about 25 to 35-year-old black musicians, 25 to 35-year-old black guitar players who are also on the charts. That doesn't happen. That's not happening because of those 3 things. I'll shut up.
Oh yeah, shout out, and I forgot to mention Jubu is another main guitar player. Used to play with Tony too, and he toured with Frankie Beverly and Mays. Yeah, Jubu is nice too. But you know, like I always say, hey, look, if you got a niece or nephew, little cousin, brother, son, or whatever, you know what I'm saying, give them an instrument, because not everybody can be LeBron James or win the next Kendrick Lamar. You know what I'm saying? Give them an instrument, and you know don't always give them a drum. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we do more than just play drums too. You know what I'm saying? Like most times for our kids, they always, I think, want to play the drum. You know what I'm saying? Or like when people like see them want to play something else, I think besides the drum, they get teased or ridiculed or something of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So
I was going to say too, I think it's something to do with the focus on the one. You know, you have the band and you have the group aspect. I think it's the same reason why we don't have groups today. You know, it's the focus on the one. You know, the Commodores, right? The focus will become the one. Lionel Richie sort of has to be taken out of that because he can be a star unto himself. You know, Michael Jackson, you know, before he was just Michael, he's the Jackson 5. You know, the focus on the one. Get him out of there so that he can be the biggest thing ever. Even today, the biggest star in the world is because they had to focus on the one. Beyonce, you know, she was in a group where you take the groups out and the lead person from the group. I think we've allowed that to happen.
We
let them take the lead singer, and because it is the focus on the me, make that person, and then you just throw away everything else. So yeah, why would the musician get the spotlight? It's the person who's at the front. It becomes about them. You know, Tony, I think falls in the same category. Unfortunately, they were a band, but they thought it was about the three of them. And even in that three, one person thinks it's about him, and he goes on to be a star, right? So it all got broken down to the one. Mint condition.
Folks, man,
sadly, I think that's the other part of it is that I don't think it was that they took the music away. We're gonna make music regardless. We'll make other genres, and it'll be just as influential. And the Black Genius will still be the Black Genius, but it still becomes the singular focus. Even in rap groups, there's no rap groups, really, right?
Yeah, man. So, Ricky Vincent, and the great author of the book Funk, talks about that in his book, and he said African American bands were the only situations where, from the time they introduced, the labels, powers that be, tried to focus on the one person.
Yeah.
And that's why you don't see a whole lot of bands anymore, because like Mike said, they're going to focus on, well, hey, you know what? Let's focus on this guy. It's cheaper, you know what I'm saying? Instead of recording or paying 6 dudes, we can just pay 1 dude, cut down on recording costs, cut down on all these things.
We don't need the rest of it. We control who's the. I mean, Prince falls into that. He's a solo artist, but you can probably look and see how everything around him, the focus becomes to him. The rest of them, get them out of here.
And so, like, if you think about it, what band can R&B music or funk music say is on that level of still being a unit together, like the Rolling Stones or like the Who, you know what I'm saying, or like the Grateful Dead? There's none of them.
Well, I would say The Time. I don't know if you would see. You may not see them in that category. I do though, but the Time is one of them. They're still together.
Yeah,
still doing it big. They mean the world to us. Now, again, I think sometimes we don't see ourselves as great as we probably should. But there's something to say that Morris Day still on the road today. And if you look at a lot of his contemporaries,
he singled himself out. It's not like the original Time where it's the Time. It's more
false victim to the one.
Yeah.
Right. And to Love Sexy 71, you're right. I usually say that. I didn't say it this time. I'm not gonna say unfortunately. I usually say unfortunately. Yeah, the best funk bands play in church now. Like if you want to see the best funk bands right now play in church.
I like that New Edition though. You may not call them a band, but in terms of the group, they're probably the longest running group.
Right, that plays behind New Edition. Yeah,
still playing in a big way.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, shout out to them. That's a hell of a band. But yeah, so Love Sex. In fact, I don't go to church a lot, but there's a church I go to when I go, and there's a brother plays guitar, and I say the same thing to him every time I'm leaving. When I leave out the door, I said, I know you play somewhere on Saturday. I'm gonna find out where you play on Saturday because I know you ain't just playing. Because you sound too good just be playing on Sunday morning. And he'll laugh and giggle like, back in my old days I was playing on Saturday night. But again, that's the point. It's like why
the roots.
Yeah.
But again, how old are the Roots?
50 plus.
You see what I'm saying? Again, the Roots out there playing. My point was young, 25 to 35 Black musicians, particularly Black guitar players, who are pushing the culture and moving the needle on what music is, right? That's what
I don't. And those musicians exist, but do they push the needle?
Right.
I don't think the game is so different that I don't think they could, unless some big corporation was to deem they're going to get that spotlight. But why would they do that?
Right, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I ran down those 3 things. Is it was purposely done. Like when I push back on sampling, people don't understand. I'm also pushing back on it was purposely done to take instruments. Like there was a calculated thing to take our music from us, which is what makes a movie like Sinners and the underlying messaging of Sinners so important, that we have to understand. Now, and I'm not saying my point is that not even what people like. My point is that it was perfectly done to take music from our community and to limit our access to instrumentation. That this thing didn't happen just because taste shifted. If you think that this thing happened just because taste shifted, we missed a lot what was happening in the moving of the chess pieces. I'll shut up.
Well, you know what?
I have to push back to say though, even if I agree with what you said, I think they didn't understand that no matter what they took from us, they didn't realize we were still dominated even stronger. I would argue that hip hop and all that is a way more dominating to the culture than any other music genre we've done ever before. And the fact that it is one worldwide in such a short time, they're not playing instruments, but they are playing with the psyche of the people and probably have a lot more control over the movement of the culture by the words that these brothers said, good or bad. But I think it goes to show that the black genius is going to show up and show out regardless of whatever. They can't stop it, right? That's why they want to control hip hop. But we still have a Kendrick Lamar, right? Even to this day, there's still brilliance coming through the microphone, and it still has an influence, even if they want to stop that influence, but they still can't. Like it's so powerful, it doesn't even matter the medium. Whatever we do is going to dominate, right? Which is why it's the prominent culture of the day. For a culture that does all the stuff that you just said, it still didn't stop it. Like we still going to control. We obliterated all the other genres of music. They don't even matter.
I will just say, and I always whenever I couch this, I want to make sure I'm not taking Bomani Jones's words out of context, because he said something, but I want to put another point on it. I agree with everything that you just said. But I also think that what also happened is that by eliminating instruments, you made making music easier than what it used to be. And by making music easier than what it used to be, you made it less innovative. And I'll just say that. Because if it's easier to do than it used to be, then the people don't have to be as talented to do it. So two things can be true. You can still dominate.
Yeah.
But are you dominating in an innovative way that you did before it was easier to do? I'll shut up.
That's only judged by the people and how they receive the music. If you go sit down and listen to it with a 20-year-old, go listen to what they listen to and see how they listen to it and how they are just as in tune and impressed and emotional as we were listening to those Prince records. And their records may be made in a different way, but it still touches them the same way. And I would argue, if not stronger.
I'll just say, to your point, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'll just say, and that's why people who like Kraft macaroni and cheese ain't got the stomach for real macaroni and cheese.
Okay.
That's it. I'll shut up.
Hey, can you pull up that question from Lee Christian about Shock G?
Oh, Shock G, the genius.
Yeah. Great piano player, Shock G. Shock G doesn't get enough credit for being a great piano player.
Phenomenal piano player, man.
Yeah.
He was dope.
Yeah.
Question C, do you like when Shock G samples DMSR? Well, see, I think Lee, Shock G was an exception because he was a musician.
Right.
And so he knew how to come at certain things like, sampling. His take on sampling was way different than, say, Pete Rock.
Which I would call them musicians too. I would argue anyone who doesn't call Jay Dilla a musician, I don't like.
Oh yeah, now that I would argue that. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
So a couple of things to Brother Lee's question. That's self-referential. I don't have a problem with somebody referencing themselves. Like that's just everybody got their lines. So in both of those examples, that's self-referential. So that's Shock G referencing Prince on the Prince, and that's Prince referencing himself. I see being self-referential as different than you're doing somebody else's stuff. So that's the way I look at it. That's the way I look at it. And did I was I entertained by Digital Underground? I mean, I'm look. The best you're gonna get from me on sampling is it's fast food that I eat on a Friday.
Oh,
the best you're gonna get on me on sampling. It's fast food that I'm
Come
eating.
on, man.
Hey,
We
man.
talking about the
Okay, but I
bomb
will say this
squad. We talking about
to
Dr.
give
Trey.
Miss Shock G some props. I just realized on Humpty Dance that drum pattern that he used was a drum break from a Sly and the Family Stone song. I think it's Sing a Simple Song. You know what I'm saying? It's like a drum pattern that he used maybe about maybe 5 to 8 seconds, but he did it in such a way that like it's hard to catch. So
DJ Premier. Absolutely.
yeah, Premiere. I mean, yeah.
Let's stop playing. Come on.
Right. And AJ 132. I'm not
Q-tip,
like
goddamn.
I said, I'm not hating. Like, you have to understand, everybody has their aesthetic taste. Like, let's be clear. Hip hop just did their 50-year victory tour, right?
Yeah.
So clearly y'all won. Let me be clear. Y'all won. I lost, right? I lost. And let me tell
It
you.
shouldn't be a win or lose.
No, because look, in 1988, I listened to Love Sexy. I went and listened to some hip hop songs, and I said, "Yep, I'll never listen to that again." And so I stayed away. And so I'm not hating. I'm just raising a question. I'm raising a question about where are the young black instrumentalists, the young black musicians that are pushing it forward. And I think I can raise that question. And I've never said people should like. If you like sampling, you like sampling. If you find sampling as a masterful art form, that's what you do. I'm saying that I miss, and I'm sad that look, let me say it this way. Black people between the age of 12 and 25. Black people between the age of 12 and 25 in America. White people don't know how to walk, talk, dress, dance, or sing until black people between the age of 12 and 25 lay the foundation of how to do that. And my question is, what happened to the 20 to 30 something black musicians pushing that in an innovative way? That was the only question I was raising.
Yeah, I think the answer is they exist. I think you're looking for them to sort of be at the head of the culture train. And I don't think that musicians inherently should be in that position. It is whatever's innovative should be in that position. Because you know how to play the piano or play the guitar doesn't inherently make you be, something special. I think in the world that we live in, we've seen that. We've already seen something special with musicians. And unless you're going to change and innovate what we've seen before, it's going to shift to something else. I still think music itself, though, is just as powerful. But to your point, I don't know if it's the guy holding the guitar speaks to the psyche the same way that it would have to us 40 years ago, coming from what we were coming off before us. I don't think in today's world that's something that's going to. I mean, Bruno Mars on some levels is that musician you speak of, but he is really framed more as a pop star,
right,
than he is of that type of musician. And he's so fluid where one day he can be R&B, the next he can be pop, then so he's kind of all of that shit. But again, is he the top of the chain necessarily moving the needle? I don't think he moves the needle, but he is obviously one of the most successful. I just don't think that what the core of what the more hip or cutting edge of culture type of audience, they don't want to see that. And we want to see something that we saw 40 years ago. And we have to come to the realization, hell, we're old, man. Like that would have been like if our parents back then, they wanted to see Elvis be the main thing or something. We wasn't going for that. We wanted to see Michael Jackson. It wasn't no damn way. We wanted to see what their cultural thing was to be the top. We wanted to see Michael and Prince. And they pushed back to us against that. So I think it's the same now, is that the kids want to see their Drakes or whoever it is, Playboy Cardis that they're into. That's their thing right now, and we just have to come to grips to that. It's not to say that ours is better or nothing. It's just a different time,
But I mean, in Seeley's defense, for me, do we want to live in a world where no one plays instruments?
No, but they do play instruments.
No, no, we don't.
No, we don't. But we don't, right? They do play instruments. It's just that the industry isn't pushing them to you, so you don't think that they exist.
Well, okay,
and there's so much more to look for. It's hard to find that stuff now. You really got to go search for it. But there's a whole movement of Black musicians touring, doing their thing, killing it.
So I guess go ahead. I'm sorry, Prof. Go ahead.
I just want to say one more thing, and I mean, so do we want to live in a world where a person cannot sustain a living by playing an instrument? It's really is sort of the question. And I know that there's
always lived in that world, though. To be honest with you.
Well, true, but I do think that there are some people who choose not to do. They could be mad talented, but because they're not going to get the money from doing that, they don't do it. So we are deprived of their genius. And it happens more than you think.
Right.
So I would say those are not real artists like that. Artists, if you waiting to get paid to do the art, you're probably not going to last.
So, but to that point, the two biggest DJs here in Mississippi were both drummers. And I asked them, why did y'all become DJs? And they said, because I couldn't get a job as a drummer. Right. And so again, I hear what everybody's saying. I'll just say that at least when it was our parents and us, it was still instruments. It was still musicianship. And that's what I'm thinking about is, so yeah, I'll just say that. I'll say that I agree with what you're saying. They wanted to see this, but it wasn't, again, we've all made pieces. I have to give a shout out to somebody that people say I hate on, because I'll give a shout out to Ray. Because Ray was the person for me, is why I stopped having discussions and debates about sampling, because he was on the show and I can't remember what he was on there for. And he basically went off and said, look, man, I didn't come on this show to debate the merits of hip hop and sampling. And it had to be like early 90s. And that was the moment I went like, oh, it's been decided. They think sampling is an art form. I can stop arguing with them. And that's what I did. And so again, the point was that I would like to see more young Black musicians find a way to impact the culture, because I know that the reason that Black musicians don't impact the culture is because it was designed for them not to, based on those three things that we discussed. Now, Brother Dean is right. I want to end with Brother Dean is right. They could stop everything except African genius. So Brother Dean is right in that aspect. They could stop everything except our Black genius. And I think that's the common ground we can find. That the best thing for me about hip hop and sampling is that it shows Black genius, that we took something that was meant to be an archival instrument, an archival machine, and turned it into a music production machine. And so I will agree there that is an example of that. And I'll end it on that.
I think exposure is everything.
I'll just throw in the last thing. The brilliance of what we're talking about, in my opinion, it's Kais Night today. It is something that's it's a Black thing, and it's going to be attracting millions of people, whether it shows up in music or shows up in streaming or shows up in podcasts or shows up in books. It's whatever we do, it's going to be so unique that it's attractive to everybody, and it'll show up in all these different places. We're not going to be pigeonholed to one certain thing. We're going to always shine no matter what we in. That's my real point. So I'm not disagreeing with the musician part.
I think exposure is everything. And I think a lot of times, I know the root to what Mike was asking, like, why aren't, more kids kind of doing certain things? Because they're not being exposed to it. Fred Hammond said that gospel music is not what it used to be, because R&B is not what it used to be, because gospel artists used to borrow from R&B artists. Funk artists borrow from jazz artists. And hip hop borrowed from all of that. So I say all that to say, exposure, man, is everything. I think the more that we expose young people to the genius of people like Prince, we expose them to guitar heroes like Jesse Johnson, drummers like Questlove, bass players, like Marcus Miller, Happy birthday, Marcus Miller. You know what I'm saying? If we expose them to that, then I think we'll see more of it. Now, the part of it is, I think our part is to expose them to it. You know what I'm saying? Granted, yeah, I know some of it may not be what the current young person say is listening to. That doesn't mean that you can't pull them aside and say, "Hey, look, if you like this, check this out." You know, I I know one of the things that I used to do, like with my students sometimes, to just break the monotony of just the rigor of the syllabus and doing stuff in class. I'd be like, name that sample. Like they'd give me a song, and I'd find a sample in it, and then I'd find like where it came from, say originally, and then I like connected the dots for them. They'd be like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." You know what I'm saying? Things like that. I mean, the same way a kid that sees somebody DJing like wants to DJ, if they see Questlove playing, they'll want to play the drums or they'll want to play the guitar. If they see Prince playing, I have friends whose kids, you know, they saw a video of Prince playing man the guitar, and that was all it took for them. Same thing it did for me. It took one video, and I was like, I want to do that. And so, we have to keep exposing the greatness of our culture and our music to our, the good music must be taught. It just doesn't happen to you at 30, where you wake up one day, you're like, oh, I have great taste. Okay, great taste in music. No, it has to be taught. And we have to teach it, like each one of us. You know what I'm saying? Whether we have a platform like this or not, you know what I'm saying? You got nieces, nephews, cousins, you know what I'm saying? Like they get encouraged, man, to join the band. Like your niece may want to play the flute. If she plays the flute, hey, let me introduce you, man, to Bobby Humphrey. Oh yeah, let me introduce you to, man, this guy Prince had named Eric Lees who played the flute on certain songs. You know what I'm saying? Just all those types of things, we have to teach it and we have to expose it and we have to keep doing it because, like they said, people gonna need man musicians. If you don't believe me, look at Tiny Desk. Tiny Desk is not what it is because people up there singing to a DAT tape. I can tell you that. It's because they got some bombs and musicians up there playing and doing their thing. You know what I'm saying? And so, we have to keep exposing it, keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? And everyone do their part.
So okay, so could you put Black Bear's quote up?
Which
Witness Kurt Franklin's performance.
Yep. Hold on one second.
Okay, this is what I'm saying, and this is what I'm saying. Kurt's brand of gospel music, when you say it's more hip hop, R&B, and funk, what you're missing, and I want to be clear, Black Bear, I may be misinterpreting what you're saying, but when I see these, this is why I'm on my instrument thing. This statement, I'm saying just this statement, has it reversed. R&B and funk were brands of gospel. That's the point. That the funk musicians and the R&B musicians and the rock and roll musicians were all playing blues and gospel. That's my point. That when we lost the instrumentation, so what you know of is funk music, what you know of as R&B, what you know of is rock and roll. That's all gospel and blues. And when you lose the black musician, you lose the root of gospel and blues. Kirk is not gospel impersonating R&B and funk. Kirk is gospel taking back what was rightfully theirs. That's why, if you don't know this name, everybody look up this name. Thomas Dorsey. Thomas Dorsey, Brother Dean, after Robert Johnson was gonna be the next dude. Thomas Dorsey was gonna be the next dude after Robert Johnson. But what happened was his 1-year-old child died, and he became the greatest gospel writer, composer of all time. So songs like Precious Lord and all those songs like that were written by Thomas Dorsey, a gospel dude that were taken and became the foundation of what we know today as modern R&B, rock, and funk. I promise I'll shut up this time.
All right. So I do want to say really quickly, and I want to tie this into what Ricky said. So I went to the Tribeca Film Festival is going on in New York right now. And last week I mentioned I went to go see Boy George and Culture Club. This week I went to go see Billy Idol Should Be Dead. That's the name of the documentary.
Huh.
And Billy Idol is one of my favorite. And actually, it's not Billy Idol. It's Billy Idol and Steve Stevens, who is on guitar. And Steve Stevens did an iconic solo for one of Michael Jackson's biggest songs. I don't know which one. Maybe Beat It. I'm not sure.
No, Dirty Diana.
The Dirty Diana. Okay.
Mhm.
And so I had never seen them live before. It was so incredible, but I'm not going to tell you about my transcendent experience of hearing Billy Idol and Steve Stevens live for the first time. There's a scene in this doc, which I highly recommend that you watch, where Billy Idol and all these other people who would go on to lead other bands went to this one, this one show that by the Sex Pistols. So if you know your punk, that, you know, Sex Pistols are really, really big. And they had like this footage of this one Sex Pistol show. And there were so many different artists, like Joe Strummer was in there of The Clash. Billy Idol was in the audience, you know, and so like from seeing this one band, more bands were created in that scene from like this one show. So like Ricky's point of you have to see it, and it, you know, you have to have that exposure. And then, so like if you're not seeing it, then you're not going to be it. So I think, again, if you want to see that and hear that, Billy Idol Should Be Dead is a really great documentary for that. And his journey is actually pretty crazy. So I just want to give a shout out to Billy Idol because he's one of my favorites.
White Wedding.
Yes, White Wedding, Dancing with Myself, Rebel Yell.
Eyes Without a Face.
Yep.
Eyes Without a Face.
Eyes Without a Face. He used to do the little.
It scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
Yes. Yes, I'm so excited that. Oh, and I added they did like this 30-minute acoustic. I thought it was going to be an acoustic set with Steve, and it was amazing. But he hit the floor, one of the floor pedals, and then he switched into electric guitar. You should have been like, everybody went crazy. Like they played all those songs you just mentioned, like every single one of those songs. So I thought, you know, it was after a movie, it was on the stage. I thought they were going to play one or two songs. They played like a 30-minute set. I put that in the accompanying playlist. And I was so transformed that I bought tickets. They're going to be, for those of you who are in New York, if you don't want to believe me, you want to see it live, they're going to be at Madison Square Garden in August. Joan Jett is opening for them. So if you want your, you know, get your Joan Jett / Billy Idol on, you should go to Madison Square Garden in August. I can't wait for it.
Man, if they had made Sinners back in the day, they would have had Billy Idol playing the vampire.
I'm glad Michael, I'm glad you mentioned that, because in the documentary, it has footage where Billy Idol was going to be in the Terminator. Terminator 2, he was going to be that police, the police guy.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
That would have been a trip. I can
Yeah.
Why he was
would have.
because he was in a motorcycle accident and he had to get a rod in his leg and he couldn't run.
Wow.
But they shot they had footage like doing the test footage. It would have been incredible.
Interesting. I
Yes.
didn't see that.
All right,
Shout
so
out to Billy Idol. The early 80s, he had it going.
yeah, I love Billy Idol. Okay, couple more questions for Vanessa really quick, and then we're gonna get finished by 2:30 hopefully. So someone wants to know, did Jesse do Free World?
Oh,
No, he didn't.
He didn't?
wow.
Okay,
What?
He didn't.
all right, and my second
But you know what that means? That means Jesse Johnson has a catalog big enough that we can be disappointed when he doesn't play songs.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
That speaks to who he is.
Oh yeah.
I wanted him to do I'm Just Wanting You because I think the guitar on that is just,
Vanessa.
But
he didn't. That's
right.
amazing.
My second question, hopefully you can be quick, even though it's not a quick question. Because, okay, so in past celebrations, well, not last year, but before last year, there used to be 4 concerts, you know, like one every day. So, how did you feel about having this one concert, sort of for the entire? Even though I know you weren't there, but do you think that that would have been enough if you were there for all 4 days?
No, I would have expected at least another evening of something,
Okay.
you know, because I think, was it last year? Not last year or the year before, they did something. Um, was it off Paisley Park, or was that, no, that was the Revolution.
Oh,
Yes,
was it First
Revolution,
Avenue?
First Ave.
Yeah, and there was one year when they had Stokely. There was a couple of shows. There was quite a few performances. So I don't know, like how people who did the full celebration, if that was the only show that they got.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, who would they get at this point? It seems like they've had everybody that
I know, like, how do you top that? Like, it really was a really good.
maybe they just go straight archival footage from now on.
Yeah, they were filming it, so who knows whether they'll release something.
All right. So, Michael Dean, take us on.
Are we out already? Okay.
Yeah, we got.
You know what? When you said 2:30, when you said 2:30, I forgot you in New York. I was like 2:30. It's 1:30 here. All right, my bad. Go ahead.
Well, we want to thank Vanessa.
Brother Dean, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
yes, sir.
I want to go back to what Prof. Duff said. We are a family. we stay a family, although we disagree. If I offended anyone, I do want to apologize if I offended anyone. I have my aesthetic taste, but I in no way meant to offend or denigrate. When I'm talking art and I'm talking artistic and I'm talking aesthetics, it is never my desire to denigrate anybody for what they like. I don't want anybody thinking that I'm saying your tastes are less than or you're less than just because I have a different aesthetic taste than you. So I want to make that very clear. And if I did offend anybody, if I did anger somebody, and I'm saying that because I think that these shows should be getting a minimum of 2,000 people watching them. And the fact that when I see other people and other things, and you look on and it's like 2,000 people, and the knowledge that Prof. Duff is giving us, and I even think about in words sometimes myself, if I'm too off-putting, and maybe I may be too off-putting. So I apologize if I offended anybody, because what's most important to me is that the work that these other people are doing on the screen and the work that people like Sanique are doing and the work that other people are doing, I need y'all to keep doing that work because y'all are laying down the nutrition that is needed. I'll shut up. Take us home, Brother Dean.
Before you do, Michael, I want to say one thing. And hold on one second. Let me do this.
Amen.
So,
family.
So, just quickly, I just want to recite this lyric from Gucci Mane.
What?
Uh-oh.
We for a loop. All of this musician talking, we doing Gucci Mane.
Boy, this is a good one.
Okay.
I gotta hear this one.
But Celia will love this. 10 in New York is 9 Alabama time.
There we go. There we go.
That's from wow. I can't even say the name of the song. It's DAMN Shawty. That's from
Lord. Hey, there you go. Sure.
That's the perfect quote. That, Brother D. That's the perfect quote.
You made my point. Thank you. All right. Well, thank y'all for hanging with us today. Thank you, Vanessa. Put Vanessa on the screen.
Thank you guys.
Vanessa.
Thoroughly enjoyed today.
Well, there we go. But I'll say this. Vanessa, a great friend of the show, great friend. Every time I go to New York, always a great friend, host, along with my buddy Troy, Tanja. You know, that's the crew. So just to see you here on the stage like this is a blessing. Thank you to D'Angela. Ricky, Seeley. That's the family. That's the crew. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Kim, our timekeeper, and everybody who participates. All the names, you guys know who you are. Listen, like, share, and subscribe. Work it like a job. We'll see you next time. Peace.
And happy Father's Day to everybody out there.
Go get them socks.